10 seconds.
Welcome to Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Get ready to explore the world of comics, past, present, and future, with our panelists Eric Hawkins, Brian Rodman, and Clyde Hall. And now here's your host, Brian K. Morris.
And good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday, October 7th, 2021 edition of Comic Book Spectrum. And we want to welcome everyone, whether you're watching us live or on the reruns, whether you're watching us from Facebook or from YouTube, or if you're watching us on Twitch. Let me make it easier for you hackers. My password is PASSWORD. Anyway, glad you're here for the show. We've got some great comics ready to be reviewed and some conversation to be had. And we hope that you'll have some questions for us and some comments along the way. But let's also start out with the attitude of gratitude, and we've got two sponsors tonight. First one is our regular sponsor, Jeffrey Hayes and Plasma Fire Graphics. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. Do your book covers look like you hired a blind guy to do the graphic design? Well, if you want a quality book cover that will knock the sensibilities out of the people that look at it and make them want to pick up your hard-earned words, then you need to talk to Jeffrey Hayes at Plasma Fire Graphics. He's got a page on Facebook with a whole bunch of his samples of his great work, as well as his homepage, plasmafiregraphics.com. And he's very, very affordable, very, very cool rates, if you ask me. So please check out Plasma Fire Graphics when you want the very best. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you, because it matters to your readers, that's for sure. We also want to welcome this great publishing concern here, Memoirs of the Morbid, and I think you're going to dig it. I will have more about it, about this great Kickstarter campaign, in just 1 minute.
Greetings, ghouls and boils. I'm the Ghoul Master, a loving homage to horror anthology narrators of yesteryear. Wait, I'm an homage? Why didn't anybody tell me? You'll hear from my agent about this. But first, let's get to the heart of the matter. I'm here to tell you about the new horror anthology, Memoirs of the Morbid, on Kickstarter in time for Halloween. Memoirs of the Morbid is a black and white homage to classic horror comics from the 40s and 50s, containing 5 self-contained stories by some of the best indie comic creators out there. There's that word again. I better not find out homage is an insult. Anyways, Memoirs of the Morbid is completely done and ready to go to the printer. The comic will be on Kickstarter until Halloween, so don't make a grave mistake by missing it.
If you enjoy the old EC comics or books like House of Mystery, House of Secrets, The Witching Hour, then you need to check out Memoirs of the Morbid. I'm in there. In fact, one of the first shots you saw in there with that Kirby-esque artwork, that's my story along with my buddy Claudio Adriano. And there's more greatness inside that book. It's a quality production, huge. It's thick. It's really thick. And it's got all kinds of great covers. If one doesn't appeal to you, surely another one will. So definitely check out Memoirs of the Morbid on Kickstarter right now, and we will be putting up a a link to that later. But first of all, we want to get to some other people we want to thank, and one is our Patreon supporters. Patreon is a monthly subscription service where you can support your favorite creators directly. These people also have their own Patreon pages, and they totally rock. But if you want to see your name in print on this card and be immortalized in ones and zeros forever on the interwebs, then check out what we offer you at www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. And also check out other shows on the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. At 9 p.m. tonight Eastern, Stupid O'Clock, the smartest, funniest geek show on the air, followed by Dan Hollowfield's Last Man Standing. And then tomorrow night, we've got a full line of great shows. Well, tomorrow it starts out with 10 o'clock with me, with Nevermind the Furthermore. And then I'm not sure we're going to have drinking with the Davies, but I'll start drinking around then anyway. And so I'll be ready for let's see, I'm looking at, the Historical Fencing Guild at 8 p.m. I'm so excited. Anyway, I'll be ready for Nicholas Tucker to teach me how to beat up my neighbors safely with bladed weapons. So please check it out. We've got 7 days a week of great broadcasting on the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. And now we're going to prepare to bring in our panel, our illustrious panel of reviewers. And so I'd like to welcome in clockwise order Clyde Hall, Eric S. Hawkins, and Brian Rodman, and possibly Luna the Cat.
Definitely Luna the Cat.
Yeah, I was looking in the monitors down here, and I saw you losing the wrestling match to Luna.
A little bit, but that's okay. We're calm right now. She's loafed by the door at the moment. Oh, now she's drinking her ice water because apparently I spoil my cat way too much.
You can't make this up. You had her in a sleeper hold. I saw it.
I did.
She's over there. She's over there unconscious.
Yeah, I did. I was like, "You will go to sleep now." She's like, "No."
Unfortunately, the referee's going to get him for bringing a foreign object into the ring later. So anyway, we've got all kinds of stuff planned. We've got even more that's unplanned. So stick around. You never know how far off the rails we're going to get with this show. We have a history. But anyway, let's start with Clyde Hall, and let's introduce ourselves. And Clyde, tell everybody how amazing you are.
Well, we are so amazing as a show that when we go off the tracks, we end up at the airport normally. So, but I'm Clyde Hall. I am an independent author. I am a journeyman writer. I am a contributing writer at Stormgate Press, and I am an elder statesman of geekery. That's a term that was coined a long time ago because of a friend that said I was a font of useless information, but I knew how to balance the real world with the world that was in my head. I always took that as a big compliment. So an elder statesman of geekery, which is a step up from nerddom, because geeks are nerds that get things done. So I've always appreciated and embraced that title. In writing, if you want to check out some of my work, you can find Pulp Reality 1, Pulp Reality 2, Pulp Reality 1, Pulp Reality 2, the award-winning Pulp Reality 1. Those are both available on Amazon and at www.stormgatepress.com. Now, if you go to Amazon, that's fine. But if you go to Stormgate Press, you'll also see many other books and anthologies there by friends of mine like Charles F. Milhouse, Bobby Nash, and the wonderful, the talented Brian K. Morris. And that's who I hang with on a Thursday because he's my bud.
And we love hanging with you, Clyde. Thank you so much, my friend. And now here is the well-fed, apparently, Mr. Eric S. Hawkins.
I had a craving right before the show started for some peanut, or not peanut, but pretzel M&Ms.
Oh, I'm with
So,
you.
snacking on those. I'm Eric S. Hawkins. I am a comic book illustrator, writer, inker, colorist, letterer. I'm the creator of the zombie-full world of Oz. We've got 3 issues already out. I'm working on the 4th issue right now, which it's spiraling completely out of control. I think it's going to be more pages than I want it to be. But, I'm a comic lover since a little wee lad, and I like reviewing comics with these guys.
And we love reviewing comics with you. And we also love reviewing comics with Luna and her pet, Brian Rodman. Brian, please
Here's
introduce yourself.
Luna. Everyone say hello, Luna. She says, "Screw you all. I hate you."
Spoken like a true cat.
Yes.
Exactly. Hi, I'm Brian Rodman. I am the writer and illustrator of the horror fantasy comic book series Memoirs of an Angel, which right now, issue 8 was funded this week on Kickstarter. We are still running.
Yay!
Thank you. We're still running through Halloween night. If you want to get in on that action, go to this link right here. Right now, we're trying to hit our first stretch goal of $3,000. If we reach $3,000, then everybody's going to get a first of probably, there's probably going to be another one. Our first really cool bookmark. It's going to be the character Legion from the Bible. It's really spooky looking, really cool. There's a picture on social media. There's a picture on the Kickstarter site. And we're also trying to reach 100 backers. We are at 77 backers right now, so we're not that far away. And we launched not even a week ago, so we're in a really good spot. And help us bring this thing to life. Help us bring some more rewards on board. And we've got plenty of catch-up tiers, but that's enough of that. Tonight, I'm ready to review a really cool comic that I've been wanting to sink my teeth into, pun intended, for quite a while. And you're probably familiar with it already, but it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited. Thanks for having me, Brian.
Thank you for allowing yourself to be had. And by the way, check out the latest episode of The Dastardly Dingoes premiering last Tuesday on the Rising Tide Broadcasting Network, where I was the special guest, and we had a great conversation, had a great time. And by the way, if you've forgotten already how to pick up Memoirs of an Angel, then you need to get on this address here. Woo-hoo! Also, please check it out. It's going to be a fantastic package. Brian always has a great package. That's what his friends tell me. And so... So anyway, check that out. And also, while you're at it, please give some love to Memoirs of the Morbid #1 at this address here. Take a screenshot real fast, and then while you're listening to me blather on, you can fill your comic book drawer with some really, really cool independent goodness. Anyway, I'm Brian K. Morris of Rising Tide Publications and Rising Tide Broadcast Network, and I'm a writer, editor, floor washer, you name it, I do it. But anyway, you can catch me at risingtide.pub, our newly redesigned website, where you can sign up for my free monthly newsletter. Also, we will a week from this coming weekend, I will be at DeadCon in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Please check out that show. There's a special events page on Facebook board, and we'll be talking more as the days ensue, and ensue they will. So anyway, here we are, and let's get to the comments here. We're going to read most of them, and I have no idea what you guys are supposed to be. I think she's referring to our graphic created by our own wonderful Clyde Hall, and it's because
apparently not too wonderful because nobody knows what we are. So
zombies.
Yeah, I just thought that she was just saying, I don't know who these guys are or who they think they are. You know, she knows us well enough.
We don't watch movies.
Zombies, I suppose, dear. And they are supposed to be zombies. Well, I can see it in Eric.
You look like a zombie.
It's the sunken eyes and the bags.
I carry groceries home in mine, and who knows? But the piles and I have zombies, so I'm going with that answer. Okay, but which zombies?
All the zombies.
Well, mine is from Fido. If you want to see a zombie movie with a difference, go find Fido. It's an excellent send-up of 1950s Americana, and the ability to take even the worst tragedies and turn a profit with it by making zombies that you can buy for your home and office. So
that sounds great.
Yeah, it's a great variation on the zombie theme.
Yeah. And I'm probably, if my taste in zombies actually are more in comics, Tales of the Zombie by Marvel Comics, and Afterlife with Archie.
Yeah.
Where the zombie apocalypse happens at Riverdale. Just for really cool comic.
Just for reference, Brian Morris's picture came from the movie Reanimator with an older looking zombie. Shaun of the Dead was the source. I
love that picture. That was fun.
Shaun of the Dead was the source for Brian Rodman's, and Dawn of the Dead, I believe, or is it Day of the Dead? One of those two for
It was just Eric's high school
for
picture.
Eric. No, his is the classic.
You know, I have my high school picture usually readily available because I loved my mullet in that picture.
I didn't know you had a mullet in high school. That's amazing.
And a Trans Am with T-tops.
Ooh.
Wow.
Because they go hand in hand.
Of course.
Well, yeah.
You had to. Did you call it the Phantom mullet? Because if you didn't, I'd be very disappointed.
No, it was beautiful though. It's because
Yeah.
I used to have naturally curly, wavy hair. It was beautiful.
Oh, the luscious locks.
Thick. Oh,
What happened, man? The good old days, you know?
got old. 50.
Brian Rodman, I have a question for you.
The show's
Oh, no.
over.
First of all, for everybody, you know, we need some more memoirs. We got memoirs of morbidity. We got memoirs of angels.
I was noticing that.
We need more memoirs. And also, I want to know if you have a legion of super Herods in your. Do you get a cease and desist letter from DC Comics? You think, or
Yeah. Right over my head. Yeah.
okay, you have a legion character.
Yeah, oh, okay. Yeah.
If you have a legion of
Sorry,
super
now we're there.
Herods, because it's a biblical themed storyline with Herod.
Yes. Okay.
A legion
Herod.
of super Herods.
Okay,
You get a
okay,
cease and
okay.
desist order. Never mind. Okay,
Sorry,
no,
Clyde.
I'm going to be over here until my time for the review. I'll see you later.
Clyde, I don't think you're the one that needs to
Yeah,
find this time
yeah.
out, if you know what I mean here.
I'll just go back here and let Luna slap me around for a little while. And we'll be all right.
Oh my god. And Ted Davies Artistry has joined us. Check out his great shows on the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Good to see you here, Ted. And Fab Four Zombie Style. That's right. Everyone say hello. And Donna Carly is worried that she's going to lose her cool girl status because she knows almost nothing about zombies. No, it would take a lot for you to lose your cool girl status, honestly. You come in with so much cred that the rest of us are just trying to catch up.
I have a great suggestion for Donna.
Okay.
This was what kind of won me over for zombies. It's not your stereotypical zombie movie, but it is still classified as a zombie movie. The Fog by John Carpenter.
Yeah.
That's true.
Is it really? I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Well, you think about it.
Yeah.
The main antagonists are zombies.
Mhm.
Yeah, they are. Now, are you talking about the original or the remake?
I don't speak of the remake because
Okay.
it's awful. But the original one by John Carpenter is amazing. It's actually arguably my favorite John Carpenter movie.
Oh.
So
Hold on.
hey, my favorite. I didn't say it was the best. I said it was my favorite.
Best?
But
What's the best?
his best is either The Thing or Halloween.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one or the other.
I'll
I could
give you that.
agree. I could agree with
It
both.
is the
Yeah.
thing, but you
Yeah.
can say Halloween.
I mean,
along with it.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a close second, if nothing
Yeah.
else.
exactly.
Yeah, if you'd said Swamp Thing, but only about 20 seconds of it, I would know what you're talking about.
I love Swamp Thing.
Actually, I did like Swamp Thing. That
But
wasn't
I
half
was like
bad.
12 when it came out, and it was on a Cinemax like nonstop or HBO nonstop when we first got cable. So there wasn't much other to watch. I mean, because they showed it like every 4 hours. You're like, ooh, we'll watch it again.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't
Adrian
appreciate
Barbeau.
it- If you don't appreciate it,
20
go watch Man Thing,
Yeah.
and then come back. And also look at where, it's like the Marvel properties, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has come, how far they've come from Man Thing. Not even giant size Man Thing, just regular
Man Thing.
Man Thing.
Man Thing is arguably, in my opinion, the absolute worst Marvel based property I have ever seen, and I'm including some of the Japanese Spider-Man in that.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
gosh.
the
Yes.
steel. It's the steel of it's
Steel
to Warner
looks like
Steel.
freaking Citizen Kane compared to Man Thing.
Yeah,
It is
bad.
Although I
sat-
like his little trunk. It's fun.
Well, Man
Yeah.
Thing as a character
It's
is
got
fine.
that
It's
tiny
got-
little elephant trunk.
Yeah.
It's strange.
Snuffleupagus.
Yeah.
Swamp him off.
I didn't even know they made a Man-Thing movie. How old is this?
Oh, it can't age. You know, it's
10,
like
10, 15 years.
yeah, about
it's-
10, maybe 10.
It was in
10
the
to 12
80s,
years.
I think. It tried
No,
to.
it's not the 80s.
It wasn't.
Oh, no. Hold on a
It's more
second.
recent
Hold
than
on a
that.
second here. I'm going to
But
look it up.
you know, it does not age well. It's like when you have champagne and it just goes bad. It's just bad.
Yeah.
It was bad to start with. It just got worse.
It doesn't age well, and then you get to the first commercial if you're watching it on Sci-Fi, which is where I saw it. And it was from 2005. I happen to be looking at it right now.
Oh, I thought it was much older.
Oh
than that.
No, it
seems
just
like
seems
Wow.
like
seems like it should be, but no.
Wow.
it has Jack Thompson, Steve Bastoni, Rachel Taylor, Matthew Neves, all of whom are probably
And a bunch of other
pseudonyms 'cause
people
they
you've
read the
never heard
script
of.
first, but they needed the money.
Was
It's
this a
probably-
Sci-Fi only movie, or?
I suspect.
Although
that's where I
there's a
saw it.
version of it that was on DVD because it's got rampant nudity and
Rampant.
rampant.
Oh, I didn't see
nudity.
that one.
Rampant.
Yeah.
Sounds like one of the
I
books
might
I bought
up.
this week.
I might like the movie better than if I.
You know,
If I
normally
saw
it would
that.
help, but this is beyond even nudity's help to really elevate it at all. It's just bad. Even the nudity is not great. It's just overall bad. So
Oh, now here's the thing. One of the two of the executive producers, of course, Stan Lee is one of them. One is Ari Arad, and Kevin Feige is one of the. Well, he is one of the one, two.
No, Ari did
four.
the Spider-Man movies.
mhm.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He was one of the guys that helped Marvel Comics emerge from bankruptcy back
Yeah.
in
He
the
did
early
Blade as well.
aughts.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I'm looking at this this list of actors and actresses here, and I have not heard of a single one of them. Let's check the director, Brett Leonard. Let's check his credentials. Well, he's got a lot of them. He's got, well, see, wait a second. As director, Highlander, the Source TV movie,
Oh.
Breathe the Underwater TV series, Peter Gabriel, the Kiss That Frog video, Siegfried and Roy, the Magic Box.
How many Sharknado entries?
Yeah,
Did you
yeah,
get?
Yeah,
Sharknado is too high bar for this guy.
It could be.
Yeah,
it could be.
Yeah. Well, he also had a part. He helped with the Lawnmower Man. His first directorial credit was 1989. But yeah, it was.
So he sucked for a long time. Okay.
Yeah.
He's had
Downhill
practice.
from there, I see.
He's had practice to abandon his, a lot of practice to abandon his craft. Now let's look at the Hans Rodenoff, who
You should look at the trivia about the movie. The first line there.
Oh no.
I probably should. Okay, hold on a second. I got to see first of all whether it's something I can read on the
Yeah,
air.
you could read it. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So let's go back to that page there, and yeah, this is riveting television, isn't it, kids? Anyway,
About 3/4 down.
okay, yeah. Let's see. All right, keep going. Trivia. Okay, I can't read the quotes. No, I can't read the quotes. And the trivia for Man Thing. A test screening for the film was held in which a lot of the audience walked out before it even ended.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yet
here.
it's still released.
More like it
on
escaped.
Sci-Fi.
Yeah.
Critics let no fear burn at the touch of the Man Thing, so they leave before the film, the credits roll.
Yeah, and I know they named some of the characters after some of the creators, like Steve Gerber, Mike Plug, and Val Mayerek. Let's see here. The budget is $30 million. My furry backside, it was $30 million.
Somebody
he
took
spent-
home a
he
lot
spent-
of props and
I say
stuff.
he spent $5,000 making that movie and then pocketed the rest. That's what
Yeah,
happened.
yeah.
No, it could have been like the Blues Brothers. Anyway, which explains the script. let's see. Oh, Rachel Taylor, who is a cast member, who's in this, became a cast member of Jessica Jones.
Okay.
So, and after the movie's release, the film rights reverted back to Marvel Studios, and they probably didn't. They said that's okay. You guys can have it. You can keep it. Okay. And it's Rachel Taylor's debut. I bet she's bragging about that. And let's see. The true villains of here's the spoiler of the film. The true villains of the film are subtly hinted at throughout the movie as being the Scheist family or Schist family and their business. First, the surname of Schist sounds similar to the latter half of the word fascist, and that wasn't quite what I was thinking.
I was thinking something much more bathroomy, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it was on.
Much more bathroomy.
Piece of shit.
I mean, like Schitt's Creek?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Show,
Yeah.
though, man.
Yeah, we can say that on the air. That's fine.
Yeah. I love that show.
Yeah. So anyway, Donna, you don't have to worry about your cred. Worry about the people that were in this film. You get a pass on this one. Now, she also says that Carl doesn't have to worry because he never really was that cool. To which he says, in his defense, nope. And hello, Teresa Dunn, and hello, Ninja Genko. Glad to see you all here. And Cindy Cap, good evening to you. Mwah! Everyone's saying, and be nice to Luna now. Luna will brook no disobedience. And here. Ryan Permisson, glad to see you here. We are doing well. Hope you're doing the same. And Brian Rodman broke records last week. Don't believe me? Watch that show. I bet
it was a ton of fun.
Yeah, I got to watch that. That was on And I Quote, right?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, and it was a great show. Ryan runs a wonderful show. I'm excited for Carl's episode this Saturday.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, Donna does know who the true star of the show is. Hi, Luna. And let's see. Oh, just had a comment. And Brian Rodman, you're the man. Congratulations on everything. Congratulations, Brian. Go, Brian. Go, Brian. Thank you for sharing this, Brian. Everyone, please share this video. And because we've still got the YouTube challenge, 1,100 subscribers before the end of Halloween, so that when this comic is fully funded, I will have 1,100 subscribers on YouTube, and we'll have a 12-hour, never mind the furthermore, the following Friday. And Carl Wisman says, Luna has such a successful pet.
She's worked so hard and trained me in many ways. Actually, no, she has trained me. I got her a bowl of ice water before the show started. So yes, she has successfully trained me.
Yes, and that's next to her plate of filet mignon. So
I don't eat that good, so no.
Well, of course, because you feed it all to Luna. What are you talking about? The cat gets everything. And evening, Jess, thanks for spending the money so that we might not. Oh, we might just have a few of those tonight. And let's see. Oh, and Historical Fencing Guild, 8 p.m. on Friday nights Eastern. So what is Eric Hawkins' maximum airspeed of a zombie comic?
I could probably get up to about 70.
European or African?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yes! Yay, Brian!
You said European, I thought of that old joke. You know, if you're American, and when you go into the bathroom, American, when you come out, what are you while you're in? European.
I was connecting the dots of the maximum airspeed to Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Don't say you don't know, Eric, because that's
never seen it. Never seen it.
You've never seen it?
No, I've seen it dozens of times, but the only time I did see it in the theater, I fell asleep.
Oh, no.
Because it started at midnight.
Well,
and we'd already seen one of the Transformers, may have been the second Transformers movie that day, but we wanted to see it in the theater because we'd never seen it in the theater. And we went and we might have all fell asleep.
Theater. Yeah.
No. I'd wake up occasionally. Oh, what's still going on?
English Canadians.
Yeah.
Well, I saw it in the theater, and I think one of the funniest moment for me was when the absolute ending where the screen goes absolutely white, and there's all these people, and I'm like, I know it's a joke, but I'm sitting there waiting for the first person to get up, and everybody's like. Nobody wanted to be the first guy to walk out, because they
Yeah.
weren't sure if this was a joke or something actually happened in the projectionist booth. Cindy Cap says, I keep getting kicked out, but I'll stick around as long as I can. Sweetheart, stay with us, all right? And Donna Carlene says, make note to punch Eric when we meet because he said 5 was old. Yeah, and he can get off my lawn too. And Donna Carlene has seen The Fog and seen Shaun of the
nice.
Dead.
Yay.
Cool.
Yeah, and Historical Fencing Guild enjoyed the Marvel Mangaverse titles. They were good as a curiosity.
Yeah.
It's like Avengers Endgame or the Japanese Spider-Man.
Always Japanese Spider-Man.
Exactly.
Always.
Yeah, screw that cinema stuff. And I never burst my bladder on a 3-hour Spider-Man film, that's for sure. And didn't Feige do the female version of Ghostbusters too? I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
remember.
Kevin or Michael?
I'm looking.
A Paul Feig directed it.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that might be different. I think that's probably the one then, but because I think Kevin Feige's pretty much kept himself busy with the Marvel cinematic universe as of the last few years. So let's see here. Let's go down to let's see. And okay, all cast and crew. That's what we're looking for. Yeah, isn't this ripping TV people? Yeah, aren't you glad you aren't paying for it? Anyway, Kevin Feige, executive producer on the IMDb. Echo, Untitled Marvel Cinematic Universe television show. Untitled Star Wars Kevin Feige project, ask for it by name. And Fantastic Four, and I Am Groot, the TV series. I ought to check this out more often. This is interesting. And Moon Knight, executive producer. Imagine that. And looking, and I'm trying to find a non-Marvel movie here, and I'm going back to.
I don't think he was. I couldn't find him on the Ghostbuster IMDb.
Yeah, I'm. Actually, I can see no credit for him that had anything to do with a non-Marvel universe character. His first
really? So
yeah,
Marvel just shat him out and he started producing films.
That's right. If Kevin Feige didn't exist, we would have to create him. His first producing credit is on X-Men in 2000. And he was in an episode of The Simpsons back in 2020, and he gets thanks for a video documentary called 8 Arms to Hold You. Which, a little bit of trivia here, 8 Arms to Hold You was the original title of the movie Help, starring the Beatles.
Really?
Yes, but they
sounds like some of that hentai stuff comes out of Japan.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was some weird Guillermo del Toro spider love story.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a Spider-Man underground cinematic effort that came to nothing and was sued out of existence.
Probably so. And the Historical Fencing Guild says, you all be careful. Sharknado is a very important franchise in the Tucker household.
Hey, Sharknado is pretty awesome because it knows what it is.
Exactly.
I feel the same way about that I do about Batman and Robin. It knows what it is, and it had a blast doing it, even if it destroyed what little cinema it actually was.
I think we've watched all the Sharknado movies. No matter how bad they are, we've watched them all. Because you're just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's a guilty pleasure.
Sure.
It's got the Hoff.
There we go.
Yeah.
See? Yeah. And Tara Reid, So it makes me wonder, it's like the Pet Rock. Why didn't I come up with that? That's in my wheelhouse, That's the sort of crap I write. So anyway, Keisha Acuff, hello, beautiful you. Mwah, glad to see you. And from the desk of a small press publisher, Joe D. McPhee, we're glad to see you here. Also part of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network, 10 p.m. Eastern on Saturday nights. He's awesome. Sorry I'm late, but I am here. We've been vamping till you could get here. And hooray, my cool status is intact. And Carl Whitson stands corrected on the Feige thing then. And let's see here. And hello, Acuff Creations. And Carl Whitson speaks for us all. Hey, beautiful Keisha. And Hey, beautiful Carl. We're having a moment here. And hey, yo, Pops Van Zandt. Good to see you from Comics Talk. And
No, beautiful yo, just a yo.
just a yo. That's all we get. That's all we get. That's okay. He's a busy man. He doesn't have time. Ain't nobody got time for more than yo.
Okay.
And you were thinking of Paul Feig. I can see the mix-up. That's true. Okay.
Did you skip Ryan's question at 6:14 on purpose?
Yes, I did actually, just so I could get all the introductions.
I don't want.
It's a very interesting one, I thought.
No, I intended to go back. I really did, but I wanted to get all the greetings in and any sort of personal abuse that our audience may have for us, because God knows they will, if not now, then by the end of the show. And he has a question: who would you cast if one of your stories or series was adapted as a movie or TV series, live action or animated? Wow. This takes some thinking.
I already did mine.
Okay, what's yours, Brian?
So I'm just gonna do like the top 2 angels, and the main antagonist of the series for Memoirs of an Angel. So actually, this guy right here, which is available as a reward tier, Memoirs of an Angel, issue 8 Kickstarter campaign. We've got, I believe, 5 left.
Ooh.
It's a nice action figure by O-Toys. Everyone will be signed. But this character is Moriel, and I would have Doug Jones play him.
Nice.
I love Doug Jones. He's the master of makeup, because if Memoirs, the stars align and somehow I'm able to do a live action, big budget version of this, I would want it to be all practical effects, just spackled with CG to make it polished a little bit. Really, I would love to see Zack Snyder direct it with being partnered with the Jim Henson Studios. I think that would be just perfect. But yeah, Doug Jones is Moriel. The other angel, Akalian, the green one, I would choose Idris Elba to play him. And what's his name? What is his name? The guy, the main antagonist is Zexus, and I would have him played by Ralph Fiennes, because Ralph Fiennes is just a very creepy man.
He can act. He can act.
He's an amazing actor. I mean, honestly, the thing I saw him in first was Schindler's List, and ever since then, he was a villain in my eyes, just because he's that good in that movie.
I can see that.
Him and Golf, I mean, it's bad. It's a bad man.
Definitely.
Clyde,
I've got mine. Your hand. Okay, let's hear yours.
My 2 main characters, because I don't have a villain that has been recurring yet for my B-Man stories. That's coming up in the 4th adventure. But for the 2 main protagonists, you have the hero, Criswell Speaks, and David Dismashian, the polka dot man from Suicide Squad.
Nice.
And I think he would be a really, really good Criswell. And Aubrey Plaza as Drea, his partner in crime.
I love her.
I do too. I think the 2 of those would do really well as those characters.
Yes, they would have good chemistry too, because they're both they both pull off like heartwarming and awkward at the same time.
And that would be perfect because B-Man is one of those people that he did not aspire to greatness. He did not want greatness. He had greatness thrust upon him. So, and he's trying to live up to it. So I can just see. And Drea is she is a psychic. She runs a 1966 fortune-telling office that she has, and she's a complete fraud. I mean, she knows it. She acknowledges it. She studied the occult, so she kind of knows quite a bit about the occult, but she has no powers. It's a complete con game to make people feel better. And I could see Aubrey Plaza pulling that role off very well. And Drea is very clever. She's smarter than he is. So, it's...
Yeah. I'm trying to think of mine. Now, the thing is, for 2 of my characters, I did cast the Skyman movie, but I cast it in the period with which it would have appeared in around 1939. Robert. Well, I go to Robert Taylor. Well, Robert Taylor would be Doc Saga.
Hmm.
In fact, in my brief to people, I told everyone he looks like a 35-year-old Robert Taylor. As for Skyman, who did I have for him? I know I had Claudette Colbert for Fawn Carroll. Myrna Loy would be a close runner-up because she's got the right attitude. God, I'm trying to. Gary Cooper, that was a young Gary Cooper would have been Skyman, and Alan Turner. Cool. As for Santa Stein, I have only one person, and I agree with Brian Rodman. It has to be Doug Jones.
Yeah.
Because my Santa Stein is not the Boris Karloff model. It is the original Mary Shelley. And he's kind of gangly, kind of, misshapen. Actually, the 1916 version from Edison Studios of Frankenstein is closer to how I envision Santa Stein, because it's closer to the original novel. As for Volcana, I could see. Oh God, why am I blanking on her name? Jennifer Aniston as Angelique Forge. And as for Volcana herself, I would still say Jennifer Aniston, but she'd have to have the moves of Michelle Yeoh back in her Hong Kong days.
I pictured Gina Carano.
Gina Carano would be a good choice, yeah.
Just because she's her a lot.
I do too. I still have a pulse, folks.
Oh God.
Yeah, but those are my main contestants for most of my work. So, Eric, what about you?
Well, I usually don't give it a lot of thought, except I only usually think about one character, and that's Dorothy. Anytime I'm watching something, and I've never.
Doug Jones is Dorothy. There
no,
we go.
No. And I've never found anyone that I thought could do it. I mean, that I would like to see that. I mean, I really like Kat Dennings, but she's too comical for Dorothy, I think. But definitely for the Wizard, you guys think about who you would like to see as Dorothy. But definitely for the Wizard, Kurt Russell, because I know he can grow that big mustache.
Yeah.
Scarecrow would be Timothy Oliphant because he's got that swagger that the Scarecrow need. And the voice of the Tin Man would have to be is it Keith David? Was he Goliath? Keith David? Or was it Keith?
Nice. Yeah. Good
and he could play him, before he became the Tin Man too. But the Lion and Dorothy, I'm not really sure of.
Dorothy is Zooey Deschanel.
Interesting.
You see, I think she's too comical too.
Yeah, but the thing is, there are a number of comics who have gone into serious acting, such as look at Cary Grant, for instance. He went the other way. He started out dramatic, and then he showed he could do comedy.
Didn't Zoe play Dorothy or the Dorothy equivalent in Tin Man on Sci-Fi Channel also?
That may be why I'm thinking of her.
I think that was one of the first times I had seen her in something.
Yeah, I think that may be why I'm thinking of her.
Yep. So she's got
Gal Gadot is she's too tall, I think.
Yeah.
Selma Hayek's too old.
I'm gonna butcher her name. Ana de Armas.
Oh, I know who you mean. Yeah.
I do not know who that is.
Hold on, I'm bringing up a picture here.
Okay, I bet you are.
Gosh.
Scarlett Johansson would be cool too, but she's too old.
Yeah,
it's got to be someone in early 20s, mid 20s that at least looks early mid 20s.
She was in Blade Runner 2049.
She's the
new Bond movie. Yeah,
good choice. Yeah,
I think she would be good at it.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think, of one actress who could be Volcana, and Scarlett Johansson actually is about the right age range for her. Because I see Volcana as I deliberately didn't name her. We'll learn more about her in the second book, probably.
Ooh, but The Rock is the Cowardly Lion.
Either that or John Cena. There you go.
Yeah, that'll work.
I was really impressed with him in Suicide Squad.
That was the best I'd ever seen him act.
He was so good in that movie.
Yeah. Now I'm going to be thinking about this all hour long. But anyway, so let's see. Moving on. Everybody's still saying hello to each other. And from That's from Small Press Publisher, Eric, what new you got to convince me on? And
you'll see.
Wait do you see.
I think he's got something that will convince you.
It will.
We'll see.
It truly will. And the Historical Fencing Guild says we own all the Sharknado movies, and Batman and Robin is like a fishing show. I do ever plan to turn it, but I always watch it when I stumble on it. I like it.
You know, that happened to me with Brokeback Mountain the first time I saw that.
Oh,
I was like, I can't. It was like a train wreck. I just kept watching. I was like,
you just couldn't quit it, huh?
I couldn't quit it.
I just can't quit.
I ain't watching the whole thing. I didn't tell anyone I watched it. No, I've never seen that. What are you talking about?
And Pops Van Zandt turns on the charm. He says, "Hi, beautiful Donna. Quit glaring, Carl. I could have flipped her off." And Russell Allen says, "Hey, fellas." And from Desperate Small Press Publisher, let's hear his opinion as our stunt double. If Amazonia was done animated-wise, I would want Cree Summer and Jennifer Hale for Eliza and Karen, respectively. Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that. Good choices, Joe. Good choices. And there she is, Michaela Jade. Mwah. Hey there, fellas. I'm coming to you. Live from the ER. Oh, no.
no.
We think it's kidney stones or somebody or stonies. Oh, my God. Michaela, keep us posted, sweetheart. Oh, my God.
Kidney stones. Never fun.
Oh, seriously. And and Carl can sympathize with that. Yeah, a guy I used to work for, a comic publisher out of Chicago, took the time to show his kidney stone. It's like resting on the tip of his middle finger. He posted it on Facebook and said, "Look what came out of my pee-pee."
Hey, hold on, I got one coming. Hold on. There we go. Hey, look at this.
He's faking. I didn't hear the blood curdling screaming. Anyway, but I'm with Carl. Ouch. And let's see. Oh, not kidney stone, not kidney thingies. Now what? Sweetheart, please take care of yourself and keep us posted, okay? So anyway, moving on to more pleasant things than kidney stones. Brian, would you like to lead us off?
I would. Hopefully I can do better than kidney stones.
Yes, if Brian's review reminds you of kidney stones, contact me immediately.
We've set the bar too low.
Let Brian know, and I need to vacate the show immediately.
If you don't, I will. Here he is, Brian Rodman.
Yeah, so this week, actually, I had a really... Oh, thank you.
Get out of the way, we were clapping for Luna.
She had the applause sign behind her.
She's not
head.
even there. No, hold on. Luna.
What you looking at?
What's is it a demon? Do you see it? It's so funny whenever she's like staring at the wall and there's absolutely nothing there. I always just say just look at Robin. I say it's the demons. She's looking at the demons. They're just glaring back at her, intimidated, I'm sure. But anyway, speaking of demons, indeed. So this week was a little light at the comic book shop. I didn't get anything actually. I didn't get a chance to swing by because I've been a little busy. But what I did get in the mail and started reading this week is a Filipino comic that has recently been turned into a Netflix show. I think it came out this year, and it is called Trece, and it is fantastic. I have to admit I haven't read all of it yet because it's a pretty in-depth, graphic novel. But this is volume 1 of the series, and it is an ongoing series. I think it's over now, but it's all available on Amazon, or I'm sure you can go, if they don't already have it at your comic book store, you can get it delivered, or you can order it at your local comic book store. But the premise is really, really cool. So the biggest difference that I have noticed, because I watched a couple episodes of the animated show and I read about a quarter of this, so about an issue's worth of pages. just to be able to read enough to be able to form an opinion and review this properly. And the biggest difference between this and the show is this is your classic black and white horror.
Nice.
And I mean, here, let's flip. This is just to show you the artwork of the monsters in it. I mean, look at that.
Wow.
Super cool. If anybody is familiar, and this is probably the best comparison I could come up with. I know I've used this comparison before, but if you are familiar with the Dresden Files, this is very, very similar to the Dresden Files. And then when I read this, when I read the tag on the back, you'll definitely agree with me, I'm sure. It says, when the sun sets in the city of Manila, don't you dare make a wrong turn and end up in that dimly lit side of the metro where the blood-sucking aswang run the most wanted kidnapping rings, where gigantic capre are the kingpins of crime and magical engantas. I don't know if I said that right. We're trying. Slip through the cracks and steal your most precious possessions. When crime takes a turn for the weird, the police call Alexandra Tresse. And so she helps the police when things get weird, when they run across monsters. And the very beginning of the really quick, it is written and illustrated by Bajete Tan and Kajo Baldissimo. And this volume is called Murder on Balete Drive. And we start the story. It's very, very much a noir feel. I mean, it already feels that way because of the black and white. But we jump right in, and the police are, circling a murder scene, potentially murder, you assume, and get a good close up. Oh, where is it? There it is. Just on, that's what the corpse looks like. So, a little disturbing. It is for mature readers. So far, I haven't run across anything other than just violence and scary stuff. But they are, the two detectives on site are waiting for Tresse, and she shows up, and it is revealed that this woman was already dead. She is actually a woman in white. And if you're familiar with that legend, a lot of the times a woman in white is, someone who, a lady who has, killed her children or something like that. And she comes back and she's an alluring figure that is, that is a spirit and an angry and violent one. But someone has killed her.
Yeah, she gets in your Impala and tries to kill you.
Exactly. If you've watched Supernatural, indeed. And it does have that feel to it as well. Very much the Winchester's kind of deal. But her and the detectives talk for a little bit. And I love this character already. I'm not entirely sure what its name is as of now, and it's funny because I think it's in the comic it is I guess a masculine character, but in the animated show it's like an older, kind of an older feminine character. But this guy right here, she starts her investigation, and this little goblin guy pops out of the sewer and tells her that things have been rough around the area, and that in the investigation she found a ring of what it wasn't salt, but it is a powder salt-like substance. And so she gives him kind of a little sample of it, and he smells it and tastes it and tells her that it is mermaid bones ground up.
It'd be a little salty, I guess. Yeah. From the sea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's encircled to essentially trap spirits and hold them, and it's used to kill them. And so it's really, this story is really cool because it hints at more of like a gangster type, like this family of monsters is fighting this family of monsters, and they're all fighting for territory of the underworld, but it's all like very mafia kind of you know kind of a feel to it. But as she continues to investigate, it takes her to the one place where someone would buy mermaid bones, and that is this guy right here. He is a dealer for things such as mermaid bone dust and occult things. And in this scene, she goes and she's trying to, get him to confess, to find out who he sold this stuff to. And he looks at her and he says, you're not your father. You don't scare me. And that's kind of the first time you realize, oh, so her father must have been, which in the show they explain it about the same first episode as well, that she has kind of taken up the mantle of what her father used to do in aiding the police and kind of keeping the peace amongst the underworld and the the normies. And so this guy completely just disregards her. She's a woman. I don't care what you think, what you say. And she, like a boss, just says, you know what, I don't have time for this. And he starts laughing at her, and then she just texts somebody, and boom, her two hitmen show up and and start blasting. And that's where you start seeing, look at this 2-page spread. This is how you do a 2-page spread, guys. That's nice. Is gorgeous. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So you show, they are, like, you can absolutely see the transformation. So starting here, so this is the boss, and then you just see the transformation of his henchman.
Mm-hmm.
As he slowly, and that just reminds me of American Werewolf in London, that kind of stuff. And so then we just jump right into an epic fight, and it's actually really comedic also how they do it. These guys just wipe the floor with these monsters. And I mean, I gotta say, as an artist, this panel particularly just absolutely stands out to me. Just the use of black and white here to show the blood.
Yeah.
Just the teeth in the solid black is probably it's the most, I don't know, so far this has been my favorite panel. It's simple, but it's just the dynamic of the white and black. The artist here just knows exactly what they're doing with black and white storytelling. So and like I said, I've read a little bit further than that. I don't want to give too much away, but I will. I'll come back. I'll have it read by next week for sure, all the way through, and I'll come back and let you know what I think about the whole first volume. But I gotta say, if you enjoy black and white horror, it gives you the feeling of kind of like The Crow, or even a little bit of the old EC comics, a little bit too. It's anything that when you do black and white and noir, horror comics, it really just adds to it, I think. And this does it very well. It takes advantage of doing it in black and white. The show is in color, and I wish it wasn't, honestly, because I really enjoy the way that this story looks. So in that particular way, I do prefer the comic so far over the show, but the show is great. So if you don't want to read, if you're a weirdo and don't like reading, like my friend Jeremy, by all means, watch the animated show on Netflix, because it is really good. I'm going to continue reading the series and watching it as well. Overall, overall, I will give at least the introduction, right? So like, what would be the first issue of the series? I give it a solid 8 out of 10. Absolutely love it. It is a ton of fun. I have a feeling that score is going to just go up as I continue reading this. Great introduction. It has me absolutely intrigued. The imagination is spectacular. I'm super excited. No wonder it was made into a Netflix show. It's great, and I plan on reading it further and getting it, all the way through. So yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Most
Cool.
excellent, Brian. Most excellent. That sounds like fun. It really does.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing, there seems to be almost a resurgence in black and white comics as of late,
Yeah.
particularly in
I've been
horror.
noticing that too. Yeah.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think because a lot of people are really starting to get into Junji Ito, who is an amazing horror manga creator. And it's funny. I don't know if you guys have seen any memes of him versus Hayao Miyazaki, who does all the Studio Ghibli movies. Those movies are usually really happy and go lucky. Junji Ito comics are extremely disturbing and gory and terrifying, and those two men are polar opposites. Junji Ito is a happy, fun, go lucky guy that's always cracking jokes and taking goofy pictures, and Hayao Miyazaki is wandering around just saying we're all doomed as a culture. Everything's
He's dead,
terrible.
isn't he? Didn't he die?
No, I thought,
No.
don't feel bad. I thought he died 7 different times, and he is still alive. So no, he does.
Oh, the
what he
studio
does
got
is-
sold or something.
Well,
Something happened last year. I can't remember what it was, though.
what I don't think they got sold. I think last year they started saying they were going away from the 2D animation. So I think that might be what it was.
Which
but
that kills it right there.
yeah, I love the 2D animation. Honestly, I'm bummed that we as a culture seem to be just completely walking away from it, and it makes me sad. Every now and then you get a wonderful 2D traditional animation style movie like Klaus on
Klaus
Netflix.
was amazing.
Oh, beautiful. I cried. It was so good. And I think honestly, that's what'll make, Don Bluth Studios is coming back. He may die before it actually gets off the ground, but he said they are going to only be doing movies like Klaus.
Good.
So yeah, it'll make their movies that much better.
Very, very cool. Thank you, Brian. And we also have some comments. Comic Book Spectrum says the Historical Fencing Guild, it's better than kidney stones. Thank you for your unsolicited testimonial, Nick. And Ace Bonnie, look, it's an episode of the Golden Girls.
Thank you for being a friend.
I'm not sure who each one of us would be.
Back again. I think Brian is definitely Sophia, for sure.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, there was Sophia.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm Sophia. All right.
I don't think any of us are. Not Rose. Clyde's Rose, but you're much smarter than Rose is.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm the whore or the tall one?
You're Dorothy, so I guess I'm the whore. All right, cool.
No, wait a second. If we're talking whores, then I think we need a recount, okay?
That's true. Okay, yeah. We'll trade. I'll be Sophia. You can be the whore. There you go.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I can do that. And Sarah's joined us. Good evening. I missed Rodman's review because my phone didn't alert me. Well, here I am. What is the book, Rodman?
Tresse. It's also on Netflix, Sarah. It's really cool. Here, I'll show you some of the interior artwork. Oh, that's a weird horse man.
Horse skeleton?
No, it was fully horse. This guy right here. Look at that. I think that's right up your alley, Sarah. It's pretty awesome.
Do they show the guy in the sewer anymore, not in silhouette?
Yes.
Okay,
they do.
Because he kind of looked like the Lorax. He kind of looked like a Dr. Seuss character in the silhouette. I was thinking, is that the Lorax?
Yeah. Blanche! That's who it is.
Blanche.
Thank you. Yes.
The whore. The whore.
I hate using that word, so thank you for
Whore.
her name.
Whore. And also, what do you think of Death Note? Asks Sarah Rodman.
I love the anime. I love the manga. The live action movie is Willem Dafoe is the only redeeming part of that movie, in my opinion. But everything else is good. I really enjoy Death Note a lot. This is not as dark as Death Note, for sure. It's a lot more lighthearted than Death Note, but it's far from a comedy because really anything is more lighthearted than Death Note. So
Yeah, just the title should give you a
Yeah.
clue.
Yeah.
The Exorcist is lighter than the Death Note. So yeah.
And she wants to know how you spell the name of the book.
Trese.
Yeah, Trese. All right, and Blanche and Dorothy are the other two, and she'd like to know what Claus is.
Klaus is essentially an origin story of Santa Claus. And it is beautifully done. It is one of the most touching movies I have seen in animated form, especially in years. I watch it every Christmas now. It came out a couple years ago.
Yeah, it's not very old at all.
Yeah, it's not old at all. I think it came out in 2018, maybe.
And
maybe
also
19.
the story of a mailman in a warring village.
Yes, and it is a lot of fun. It's a heartwarming, really sad, but rewarding movie. It's on Netflix as well. It was an original.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and Santa's so buff.
Yeah, he is.
He's just a big
Yeah,
burly man.
Santa
Not
ain't
fat. He's
fat.
just big burly.
No. Yeah, man. Santa's lifting those barrels at the world's strongest man competitions.
Tossing
That
logs.
he's doing. Yeah.
Getting all those big tractor tires up over his head with one hand. Well, anyway, Sarah, we hope we've answered your questions, and now here to cause new questions is the one, the only Mr. Eric S. Hawkins. Eric, what do you have for us this week, sir?
Well, I picked up 4 books this week. It would have only been 3, but one of them I'd been searching for 2 weeks because my shop sold out of it, and I cheated in my shop and went to a different shop this week that was right across from work. Usually I work from home Monday through Thursday. In the office I go in on Friday. So I go to the shop Wednesday night local here. But I was in the office yesterday, so there's a shop right across the street basically. So I went over there at lunch. So that's where I picked up Beyond the Breach, number 3, which is it's still a fun book. You still got the big giant tortoise named Turtle, or is it turtle named tortoise? I don't remember now.
You were gonna say big giant turd.
That's what I thought too.
But this one I'm still enjoying quite a bit. And number 3, all these are number 3s. And I was going to review this one, but Brian has not got his copy yet to read it, and it is just excellent and just keeps getting better.
Thank you, Eric.
It's a little creepy, but a little creepy in a good way, and it's not too disturbing, just disturbing enough. But it's the me you love in the dark, which I just love.
I thought you were talking about me for a second.
No, and then there comes the other 2 books I bought, and oh God. So
attention tower, ready for takeoff.
So Lucky Devil, number 3 by Colin Bunn. It's not getting worse. It's just the story has not gotten better since issue 1. It's still about the same. I don't know. I'm probably going to reread all 3 issues again, see if I want to continue getting it. The number 3 of the last book you'll ever read.
Ooh, I love that cover.
The cover's great.
Howling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I mean, if you want, I can't show you pages in this book. There's so much nudity throughout the entire book and sex scenes and peni, because I say peni because there's so many of them.
Peni.
It is the last book of this I will get.
There it is.
You can read my copy, Eric.
About 6 feet. So I decided to review a book that I probably should have reviewed a couple weeks ago because I really enjoyed it and I like it a lot. And so I'm going to review this one tonight.
Hey! All right.
So
You say that now, Brian.
I know.
one thing I'm going to say about this, I love the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles style to it. The bright colors. If I was a drug addict, I wish I had some acid to trip off this. The colors, oh my God, they pop so good. And I know who your printer is, so I know they can do that kind of stuff. But wow, they just pop right off the page. And so, I mean, y'all know Brian crowdfunded this to success, and you can buy it from your website, correctly?
It's about to, yes,
about to be out there. So
about
be
to be
prepared.
available, yeah.
If you miss this, go get this book. The character designs are awesome. I really love them. very imaginative. All the creatures, and they're gorgeous. I mean, look at that! Don't you wish you had some acid right now?
Constantly.
I mean,
You should try popping some acid while you're drawing
just
it. I mean,
one
there
little
you go.
thing. Where's my
Are you looking for your acid here?
Yeah, my little humidor. I got a little humidor right there, but there's not cigars on it. And the designs of the characters and the dialogue, Brian definitely knows how to write a book. And I've enjoyed Memoirs of an Angel, and I enjoyed this quite well too. And lettering is great. It fits in all the things. Little bubbles. You got some sound effects here and there, and they looked good as well, because you guys know I like my sound effects. But the story, what I appreciate a lot about it, it's I could give this to my grandkids to read. I could give this to a kid to read. A lot. Obviously, the other books I have, you cannot do that.
He
You
can't
just
even give them
can't.
to me to read.
But the bond between Albie and Connor is really cool. It's it's almost like an older brother, younger brother thing, but it's also kind of like it's almost like a married couple too. How old is Connor at this point? Are you allowed to say?
Yeah, no. He's about late 20s.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know he seemed like he bulked up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Or the suit's just really thick. And for those that haven't read, I'm not going to spoil, but he's looking for something and he needs something desperately. And I hope he finds it, because that's where it left me off, really wanting to read more, which I didn't like about the book. Because I was like, no. But yeah, the way the stories tell, the pacing and the flashbacks, I mean, they're perfectly all synced together correctly. Well, I won't say correctly. They're just perfectly synced together the way they should be. And it's really good. And I enjoy Brian's art quite a bit. I do like it. It entertains me. And I like where's the pew pew? The pew pew. You got the pew pews are really good.
Yeah, taped to the side of
Which
the gun.
I am going to tell you, Brian, after the show, I want to ask you a question about the pew pew.
Okay.
And you don't have to answer the question. Maybe you won't want to answer the question.
All right.
Because I've got a theory.
Now I'm nervous.
Now I have a theory. But I don't want to ask it in front of everybody.
Oh,
But
okay.
I'll ask it in front of the other two. No, this book was great, and I am really so looking forward to the next issue. And I mean, look, I bought 2 Colin Bunn books. Let's throw Lucky Devil too. But this one, I enjoy this. I enjoy Scotty Young's writing. This is coming out from Image. This could come out from Image. I think the writing's on par with Scotty Young. Definitely anything I've seen Scotty Young write.
Mm-hmm.
Draw. I won't say draw because I mean I can't even touch Scotty Young's drawing.
No, yeah. If you said that, I would not believe
he makes that simple little chibi stuff look so easy, and I cannot do it.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Yes.
Beyond the Breach, great book, better book. This is one of my favorite books I've read since we started reviewing the show. I will say that. Yeah, definitely. So if you have not gone out and bought this, or you didn't back it, if you didn't back it, go out and back Memoirs of an Angel right now. But if you want to get this, it'll be available on Brian's site soon. But and so let's rate it. So I don't give 10s because 10s are reserves for stuff like Watchmen, X-Men Phoenix Saga,
Zombie
all kinds of
World
stuff. Yeah, Zombie World. No. But I am going to give this a 10. I give it a 10.
No.
Yes, I did.
Oh gosh. Thank
And
you.
look, I even put it back in the bag, and I usually don't even do that.
Yeah.
But no, it's a great book. I really look forward to seeing the rest of them.
Thank you so
Oh,
much.
you're very welcome. I really
Appreciate
enjoyed it.
Yeah, I had a ton of fun writing it.
It shows. It really shows that you were really involved in the story because of the personal things you go through with the asthma and the nebulizers. it shows all your experience and heart is in that that story.
Well, thank you. I like I said, it was a ton of fun. It was a lot. It's kind of like therapy. I wrote that issue in the middle of the pandemic last year. And and I told you guys how the nebulizer came about, right?
Yeah.
Like how the idea of it, just the fact that my friends played the same game that you guys like to play with me all the time of laughing. Let's make Brian laugh till he has an asthma attack. Yeah, it's great. But that's what's
it's
fun
a drinking game for us.
Yeah.
It's not our fault. It's a live or die game for you. I mean, it's your problem.
Yeah, there's some days I just go wandering out of the studio here, forgetting why I was here in the first place. And I'm half blind when I leave.
No, but it was a ton of fun, and it was inspired through just a funny moment about my asthma. And I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you. And I'm glad that you said you were able to give it. You feel like you could give it to a kid to read, because that was the point. I wanted everybody to read it.
So Nora, my oldest granddaughter, she has asthma. And we got a nebulizer here, and she has attacks, and she hasn't read it yet. She was looking forward to reading it, but actually, she says it all the time about a book. But she never, I'll buy books. She doesn't read them. But I tell you what, she loves the beanie because it has a little inhaler on it. Yeah. She sleeps in that when she's here. She sleeps in beanies. I don't know why, but she does. She loves that.
Well, that's really cool, man.
Reading that first issue, and that's the first time I got in on the ground floor of any of you guys' work. That was the first time of the launch of something new. But reading that first issue, I could imagine a child that has asthma problems being inspired by that, by really taking that story to heart and identifying with that hero in a way that other heroes don't quite match up,
right? Because
their experiences are so similar. And kudos for you to take something that's been a factor of your life and making it a stepping stone for other people that have the same problem, especially younger people. So, much respect. And it was so well done. So well done. I cannot imagine a child plagued with asthma reading it and not taking something very positive away, if not sitting a little straighter and a little taller after reading about this new hero that goes through the same thing that they go through.
Well, thank you, Clyde. Thank you, guys. That's and we have the voice of Albie up here with us. Anyway, so there we go. As I'm writing it, I'm curious because when I wrote it, it was right at the beginning of when I started interacting with the Nevermorian crowd, and even when I was writing it, your voice was in the back of my head. It's either your voice or James Marsters when he does his British voice in the Dresden Files audiobooks. So yeah, it's either one.
Now.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow. Yeah, and that was one of my problems. Every time I read that AI, I kept hearing my voice.
So wait, you after meeting Brian or discovering Brian, you wrote a story about you inside of Brian?
Oh no, him inside of me. No, yeah, me inside of him.
Yeah.
This is a weird conversation now.
You made it weird, Eric. Thanks a lot.
I like it.
Yeah. All right, Eric. I think you let that issue of
I loved it when he hugged Albie when he was still
Yeah, and that was done before he and I did ours. So, but I'll tell you one thing I loved was this one panel, and I know that.
Holy crap! Okay.
Yeah, I
like
this
guys in the same
panel,
room.
Brian, that's all. Screw you. But anyway,
no,
this one panel here, and I know this part, that this was a very personal part for you. But what I love is the attention to detail, where our hero, as a youngster, look at his. I don't know if we can convey this properly, but you look at his neck, and he's starting to have a little mini breakdown, and then look at his neck as he starts to have the attack. It kind of wrinkles up and everything, and what a And the thing is, I can follow what the hell is going on by just looking at the artwork, which is quite a compliment to your writing ability. And something I wish more.
It's an accomplishment nowadays in pro comics to be able to do that.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. That and it keeps me mindful that as a writer, I need to put at least half of the story the story burden on the artist.
Hmm.
Because that's why comics work as well as they do. Yeah, Eric, you reviewed that one, but I got this one that's better. Anyway, but no, I agree completely with Eric. This is powerful stuff, and I laughed out loud at the gun that had two choices: pew pew and big boom. that just made me howl and cackle with laughter. It is a wonderful story here, and of course it's got an ad for one of my favorit shows, but
it should be two of your favorite shows.
Yeah, two of my favorite shows. Yeah, now, but no, seriously, I have to agree with Eric that it's a 10 out of 10. You knocked it way out of the park, and it makes me realize I've got to work a little harder because I've got two of my favorite comics in this room with me right now. So, well done, sir.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Very welcome. I mean, we really need books that are friendly to a younger audience.
Yeah,
and we just don't have that. Even mine's probably young teen. I wouldn't give it. Well, my granddaughter's read mine. She liked it. It's really good, Pop. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
but I don't have cursing. I don't have nudity. It's just zombies and a couple beheadings.
I've got some cursing, but there's mild, like there's a couple like suggestive nudity scenes, but it's not like it's for a purpose. It serves the story well. But this is not for kids at all. And my own nieces haven't been able to start reading this yet. My oldest niece is she's about to read the first issue. My sister said that. I was like, okay, your call. But but I wouldn't let a 12-year-old or I wouldn't let a 10-year-old start reading this. But I wanted something that my nieces could read. I wanted something that, kids like, when I was a kid and I had asthma, I wanted to write a book that I would have loved at that point in my life when I was, bummed that I couldn't go trick-or-treating on Halloween, stuff like that. I can stay home and read this comic and, play in my room with the nebulizer action figure. You know what I mean? And there you go, Brian. But no.
Who creates those? Who makes those?
Oh, toys. And look. One for Moriel, one for the nebulizer. Look. Look how wonderful they are.
Yes, they are. Yes, they
are.
And
you can't get these anymore, but you can get these right now. On at the Kickstarter below for issue 8. It's like Lord of the Rings meets The Exorcist.
But better.
I don't know about that, but it's really good. It's a lot of fun. And this issue, like I can't stress enough, this issue, if you've not jumped on board yet, this is a great issue to jump in at because it's the beginning of the end of volume 2, and a lot of crazy intense action is going to happen starting this issue.
Yeah, so. And I don't think it's laying anything out of the bag that this arc is going to lead to something really, really big coming from the universe.
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. There will be, I don't want to talk about it too much, but there will be spinoffs coming in the next couple years that may or may not involve all the people that you're looking at right now. So we'll see. More to come.
Very good. Very good. And thank you very much, Brian. And thank you, Eric, for that great review.
Yeah, thank you.
I
Eric.
really enjoyed it.
That was really cool and unexpected. And there we go.
After the crap I bought this week, except for the one book I really loved that I didn't want to spoil for you. Oh, it's so good. I can't wait for you to read it. I want to know what you think of the whole series so far.
Yeah, that'd be
good.
So
far, I love it. But yeah, I can't wait to read issue 3.
Very cool. And we got to say hello. I think I skipped you. I'm sorry, Russell Allen. Hello to you, my friend. And let's see here. Let's get caught up with the comments here. Look at Hawkins attempting to overlook Brian's comment. Yeah. And for the Small Press Publishers, Colin Bunn, read the website to understand the
issue. It's over there. But man, there's nudity on every page. It's almost every page. I was like, I got just aggravated because I'm not even gonna be able to show any of the artwork, and it's the same thing. Everybody that reads this book tries to kill the author, and the author is just having sex with her bodyguard constantly, and it's very graphic. It's like turning into a porn channel, and not Cinemax porn. I mean, hardcore. And I'm like, oh, good grief! And then there's the things, and I'm like, and they're chasing them through woods. I'm like, what? Go no, I can't. I can't anymore. It is the last book I'll read.
It's like it's like the lust level on the Dante's Inferno video game.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
I know. Yeah. But yeah, and I'm like, that's why Eric gives it a 13.75 on the 10 scale. So, yeah. And from this Small Press Publisher, yes, we agree, Eric. I just need something bigger than a pew pew gun in the later issues, though.
Well, if you saw the cover for the next issue, you'll get that. So there we go.
That's
a kapow gun.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Kapow,
Big kapow. Yeah.
Speaking of ray gun.
Earth-shattering kaboom.
Yeah.
They'll be like the nuke. Sarah says, penile with some spermatozoa. That's not a bad thing to say because it's a biological term. Wondering what kind of stamps Hawkins uses. How do you feel after you lick the stamps?
I don't know. If they had ass on it, I'd probably feel pretty good.
I think as long as the stamps are consenting.
The previous comment brings up a good question. Is penile the plural?
I don't know.
Or would it be penises, which I've always heard?
I think it's penises.
Yeah, well, there's a ton of them in that book.
There's a word. No, penile is also is a word.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So,
well, Eric, aren't you glad we're not drawing the porn version of Oz, where I'd be saying, Eric, you've got to draw one more penis.
I would make more money off it if I did.
Oh,
you
yeah,
probably would.
Absolutely, you would.
Because I've seen what makes money on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. Talk about the lowest common denominator.
At 30,000, the nebulizer issue 2 will have a bear cover.
Oh my God. Sarah says, I got my younger niece into Death Note a few years ago. I'm a naughty aunt. Sarah, she likes it so much she went as a character from the show for Halloween one year.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm
That's
calling Child
fun.
Protective Services. And she also has the books. I'm not a good influence. No,
Nice.
You're the best. You're the fun aunt. And Eric wouldn't like my seduction of Lily Monroe or Woodstock Dreams.
Those probably wouldn't bother me. It's just these people apparently stripped down to run through the woods and chase down a bus that has the author in it so they could kill her. But they have to be naked to do it. So.
They've really
got to make any sense.
They've really got to want that girl if they're going to run through a forest.
Was this made by HBO?
It probably will be.
I'm sure it will be. They're like, wait, they just get naked for no reason? Yes, absolutely. We got to buy this. All right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, Sarah,
it was like if you guys ever watch Oz on HBO, not the Wizard of Oz, but the prison documentary series. The opening credits had a lot of Wang.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. They're just flopping everywhere in the book, and I'm like, this.
Does anybody do helicopter? Don't answer.
No. See, I think you have to have the animation for that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You hope it's animation. And by the way, folks, be sure to watch our back episodes. I think it was a couple of months ago where we talked about Batman. Does he or does he not do the thing? So anyway,
if you ever do a best of, you have to put that in there.
Yeah,
that's so in there. That's so in the mix.
And that is as mature as we've ever been on this show.
Yeah.
Well, 3 of us.
Or replay that on Thanksgiving night.
Well, Clyde was a riot. But Cookie is learning how to take these and edit them now. So we might wind up with a best of episodes.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So it's just going to be best of Clyde?
Pretty much.
Yeah. All of Clyde's reviews. There's
going to be a couple things with Eric, 3 or 4 with Brian. Then the other 5 hours is going to be Clyde, and I won't be in it at all.
No,
we'll be on the gag reel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
the bloopers.
There we go. I keep telling everybody, every show I do is a blooper. And Sarah, I was just thinking penile too. Anyway, big shocker, right? Yeah. No, I'm stopping. Anyway, either plural, says scientist Carl Witzman, is acceptable according to Webster. Also, peenies.
Panay?
This is truly the learning
Panay?
place.
Oh
Sounds-
no,
It
pasta's
sounds like a
ruined
peanut
for
butter
me.
snack cracker.
PSA: if your penis looks like a peanut butter snack cracker, go to the doctor.
Yeah.
After 4 hours.
Yeah, and I can see also the new product from Rising Tide Industries. It's a
Where we
peanut
going
butter
with
that comes with its own jelly,
Oh no.
but it's KY. Anyway,
Oh.
There was that line. And Brian just went,
Brian can't even see the fence from where he's sleeping. You know, it's like a little ball. It's like trying to
Oh.
look at the Great Wall of China from the moon. You know what I'm saying? And running backwards. Thank you to Ninja Gango. And Joe Dog McKeel picked the wrong time to show up. Made by HBO, don't you mean Cinemax? Skinemax, correct, Sarah. Oz was HBO. Okay, there we go. And Joe Dog McKeel says, I was trying to be nice. Well, we appreciate your effort, but you're fighting a losing battle. And peenies. Oh my God.
And we all collectively turned 12 again. There you
Yeah.
go.
Yes. And I can see Sarah in her bedroom because I have been there. Don't make any more of that than you hear. But I can just envision her now rolling on her bed, listening to us try to discuss the plural of penis in a rational, mature manner and failing. And we're at the airport already.
There it is.
so that means it's time for Brian's review.
You don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, Joe Dog says, well, I just ruined that. Says Sarah. No, you had some help. I claim full culpability. How about I review something?
Why not? Go ahead.
Go for it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
can I damage now? I've already done my collateral damage. So anyway, like Eric, it was pretty light for me this week. So you all should buy like dozens of copies at number one. Anyway, what came in this week? It's the magazine. You'll say to hell with it. To hell with Mad. It's the latest issue, number 22, new renumbering. It's got some classic articles going back all the way to issue 1 in here, all Halloween themed, and it's got, of course, great art by Sergio Aragones, classic painter Kelly Frias. Trying to think who else is in here. Mort Drucker, George Woodbridge, Duck Edwing, Al Jaffe, Jack Davis. In fact, Jack Davis has the color section in here. It's really nice. And I think, and Sergio, Antonio Proas, Dave Manick, Dave Berg, and the latest article in here is something like 2009, something like that. It's a real panorama of how Mad has honored Halloween throughout the years. And then, of course, speaking of Halloween, the Game Master. Let the dice fall where they may.
That is awesome.
Isn't that beautiful? BA and friends are attending GaryCon, which in this universe is like the equivalent to Gen Con. And hilarity and hijinks ensue. And then 2 books came in that I have to admit, I haven't been fully reading Justice League Infinity, but I caught up with it just today. And this is really good. This takes off from the animated series, the highly lauded animated series, but it's kind of like this universe's version of the Infinite Frontier books from DC, which we have reviewed on here and really like. So definitely check this out. And this cover is by the co-writer of this book, James Tucker, who writes this with J.M.D. Matisse, who's written like The Defenders, the classic Justice League with Keith Giffen. It's a really, really good book. And also this one, Rick Burchett is back drawing Batman, the Adventures Continue, based on the animated series. Really, really good stuff. Definitely worth your money there. Now, what I'm going to review is DC in the last 2-3 years has been honoring their classic characters such as Superman, Batman, Green Arrow, and such with 100-page super spectaculars, and celebrating the history of these wonderful characters throughout the years and using some of their top talent. Well, now it's Wonder Woman's turn. And I got the Michael Cho Silver Age book, which has, a little, like a comics code stamp, except it's approved by the authority of DC Comics. All right. And the back issue, of course, is Believe and Wonder. All right. Now, this is really, there's some really good stories. The first story, whereas a lot of these have been taking place in chronological order, this kind of skips around just a little bit. The first story is by Michael W. Conrad and Becky Cloonan, who I think are currently writing Wonder Woman. And it's about Steve Trevor learning to edit a film that honors Diana, that he prays she never sees. Really nice art, really touching. And then it's followed by a story from a recent young reader's graphic novel. The creators of that did a story. Then we jump to, and there's some pinups in here. Now, this one by Amy Reeder, it is an attempt to capture the golden age, and it's okay, but it misses a lot of the trappings of the 40s, such as, the way everything started out like the stronger than Hercules, swifter than Mercury, more beautiful than Athena sort of thing. It's a decent story, but just doesn't quite make it for me. Now, the next one, of course, how can you go wrong when the script is by Mark Waid and the artwork is by Jose Luis Garcia Lopez? And this is a Silver Age comic where Wonder Woman is questioning her place in the Justice League because she becomes the person everyone brings their personal problems to. Like the Flash asking, should I tell Iris West my secret identity? And Diana's like, you married her, and Robin's like, I don't have time to go out for football and baseball. What do you think? Things like that. And Diana comes to a realization about that is just really wonderful. But anything, I would read Jose Luis Garcia Lopez illustrating somebody's grocery list. He is that good. And then there's fortunately, the non-powered Wonder Woman is represented in a. I know.
Yes. That's like my favorite story in the whole thing, I think.
Mine too. By Tom King and Evan Doc Shaner.
Doc Shaner,
Doc Shaner can do no wrong. And it's one where 60s Clark Kent is trying to become more hip, and the closest he comes is being able to brag that I have a suit at home that's less gray than this one. And so he asks Diana Prince out on a date. And of course, she does the fashion makeover on him and takes him out for a night of hip entertainment. And it just clicks on every freaking cylinder possible. It is a wonderful, wonderful story. And of course, like I said, Nicholas Scott has a beautiful Wonder Woman Through the Ages montage there.
Oh, cool.
Isn't that beautiful? And then there's a decent story by Vitala Aya and Isaac Goodhart that's kind of, I'm getting sick of seeing Cheetah. Wonder Woman has more than one enemy, and Cheetah isn't it. But it's a decent story. And then we've got some of the other Wonder Women represented, like Artemis and such. And it's a decent story. But what I'm looking at here, and then G. Willow Wilson, who I also like her work, a lot of good stories in here. They really are. But does it really represent Wonder Woman's many phases? For instance, I wouldn't have minded a story with some of the goofy stuff by Robert Kanigher of the 60s, where Wonder Woman basically became the guest star in her own book to Wonder Girl, and became a romance comic to boot. And also, I would have liked to have seen the 12 Trials of Wonder Woman, when she had regained her powers in the early 70s and then reapplied for admission into the Justice League of America, but said, give me some trials to prove I'm still worthy. And there are a number of people who have worked on the book, such as Jerry Conway, Roy Thomas, blanking on his name, but he did like about a year's worth. Greg Rucka. There's like a whole bunch of people who I don't know if they were asking, they couldn't do it, but they aren't represented. Most of the stories seem to be more contemporary than celebrating the wide history. It's an enjoyable read. Don't get me wrong. It is a great read. A lot of good stuff in here, particularly the King Shaner story. That's worth the whole $10 right there, as far as I'm concerned. But there's a lot of good entertainment in here, but I just don't know it honors the Wonder Woman that I grew up with completely. It's a great book. I do recommend it, but as is, out of 10, I'm going to give it an 8.5, simply because of what it omitted. Yeah. And I would welcome Jody McPhee to speak up on this, because I know that he is a Wonder Woman fanatic, and I'd like to hear what you say, and that's my review for this week.
Have you guys watched any of the movies on the creator of the Wonder Woman?
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I read the book about him though.
Oh, there's two. I think 2 movies came out in the last couple of years.
Yeah,
I enjoyed them both.
Theaters.
They were
very eye-opening.
very informative.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were interesting.
I was thinking, we've seen Aquaman and Green Arrow homaged and honored for their 80 years similarly this year. And of the 3, I felt like they dropped the ball on the Wonder Woman as far as a complete retrospective. They had some really good stories, and they had some that were marginal or just didn't really, like you said, they're close, but they somehow missed the mark a little bit. And that's a shame, because she's such an important character, especially compared to Aquaman and Green Arrow. Nothing wrong with those characters, but they aren't a part of the Trinity. So I don't know, maybe my expectations were just higher than they should have been, but I was a little bit disappointed, except I hit the Doc Shaner story. I was already looking forward to his artwork, and then I'm like, Tom Taylor, ooh, and it's very nostalgic. It's, when you were talking about the Kanigher run, I thought, well, I can see where they would, some of that would be hard for a modern audience to sanitize it enough to be acceptable, because some of it was, you remember, what was it, Egg Foo Young? Remember that villain?
Oh, Egg Foo. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this was not always good stuff. And I thought, well, maybe just they couldn't. And then I thought, there was nothing more reviled than the non-powered Diana, and they did okay with that. So I'd like to have seen them try to tackle a Kanigher kind of era. That would have been interesting. But
that would have been, and a lot of it was stupid. And even the Marston era, there's some stuff in there that I definitely wouldn't let my kid find it on the coffee table. I
didn't see any giant kangaroos.
I didn't
see
see
any
loving
giant
submission, mommy. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, I just.
Why is Wonder Woman across this man's lap being spanked?
Exactly. Why is Wonder Woman saying, when you bind my bracelets together, I lose all my powers?
Yes, little Jimmy. We'll read Goodnight Moon, but first.
That's right.
Oh no!
Yeah, the kid's crying, saying, "Mommy, please stop! I beg you, stop!" But yeah,
what's our safe word? What's our safe word?
Yeah. It's faster. Anyway, but no, yeah, and I think the Aquaman book from a few weeks ago also suffered from that, but not quite as much. What I don't like to, I don't know really, since I don't read previews, I don't know what might be coming down the pike, but we are due for a Justice Society now.
When that came out, I was hoping, just hope against hope, that there would be a Wildcat appearance, because they premiered about the same time.
Yeah.
He's a much minor character. I don't expect them to do an 80-page spec, but it would have been nice to kind of sandwiched him in. They did it with Green Arrow. He got a little nod there. So I was kind of hoping, because he and Wonder Woman are sort of linked in their origin premieres. But no, that didn't happen. So I understand. I'm only mildly disappointed. It's okay. He's a minor character.
No, he isn't, Clyde. He's the biggest ever.
DC, you are good.
Instead of previews, go to a League of Comic Geeks. And you can look week by week what's coming out.
I need to check that out more often. I'm gonna write that down.
I do the fresh,
and they have the covers and everything. Then if you click on one, it'll show you all the alternate covers and coming out. Tell you,
Ooh, nice. I will have to look that up. Definitely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And for this one, small press publisher, should I put this in? Okay, here we go. I am just happy you didn't do all the used peenies in a sentence joke. Just stick around, okay? It could happen. Ted Davies Artistry asked, sorry I had to step away. What did I miss? Peni.
You didn't miss much, Ted. You didn't miss much.
Yeah. And yes, we're
Well,
only
it still
halfway
has to go
done.
yet.
Yeah, stick around for more Peni jokes. And let's see and for Donna, Carl, and Brian, corn, sugar, and yeast acquired. And Sarah sums it up succinctly. Naughtiness. Okay.
Naughtiness.
Anyway,
Naughtiness.
from this small press publisher, his is coming in a few days. I would like to hear your review of this, Joe. I really would. And Ted, you missed the discussion of what the plural of penis is. Boy, I bet Ted's racked with regret over that. And Sarah says, one thing I'm going to have to do is start from the beginning of stories. It's difficult when they're not labeled in chronological order. My boyfriend has a phone app that says all the books in order plus, and where does it continue? Plus the books coming out, and can add to his pull box since his comic shop uses the app. I need to find out what the app is called for personal reference of what goes where. So cool. And from the desk from Small Press Publisher, I wanted to see a newer story about her losing the title of Wonder Woman to Arana from the 70s. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Good idea. And from this from Small Press Publisher, I also like the Black and Gold series better than the Homage and Anniversary series, but looking forward to reading it when it shows up in the mail next week. All right. Thank you from the desk of Small Press Publisher. 10 p.m. Saturday nights on his very special YouTube channel. Please check it out. And the Historical Fencing Guild says keep track of ratings and comics and YouTube shows is a challenge. And we're going back to the airport again.
Peenies. You remember in Boy Meets World, Mr. Feeney?
Yeah. So Mr. Feeney
that's
launched
it goes on TMZ now.
Yeah, you just Peanut.
Oh,
So if he launches a brand of peanut butter snack crackers, it becomes Feeney's Peenies. Is that?
It comes in the average and the extra large. Anyway, so
I believe those are called magnums, bro.
Yeah, they all say oversized. I like that. Anyway, have we driven the show further into the ground? Who can save us now? Only Clyde Hall can save this show.
Oh, we're in trouble now.
Oh dear God. Okay,
hold on to your butts.
Anyway.
Yeah, hold on to your butts. Here we will restart.
Or someone else's. Hold on, do it with someone you love. Anyway, Clyde Hall.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Catching up. The plural of penises. It's also depending on if it's penises that have been waggled around a bit, it would be cords of peni, I think. Like cordwood, you know.
This is such a good episode.
Oh,
if my mother-in-law is watching, please stop.
First of all, also to catch up in mentions of things that are like the Dresden Files. I've been reading a book this week for creative writing class, and I kept thinking about Brian Rodman and the Jim Butcher series.
Ooh.
How to Survive Camping: The Man with No Shadow by Bonnie Quinn. It is a more rustic rural setting rather than Chicago, the city, for Dresden, but it's really creative. There are things in it that do remind me of some of the books that we've talked about, the children's literature that was inappropriate for children that you enjoyed early on, of all the ghouls and goblins.
In plurals.
Yes. But she has, some of it's based on folklore, but most of it seems more like from more personalized dream creatures and things like that.
Mm.
It's very, very well done. It was an internet writing exercise. It started off, and so they're just little chapters that deal with different strange creatures, like the people with no face, the woman with multiple eyes. Some of them are mentioned, but they're not explained. And then later on, she comes back and she'll talk about them. Her brother, who is not her brother. It's a creature of the unknown that gives you false memories of being related to you, so he can come in and basically steal your inheritance. Yeah, but kind of creepy, and not a happy story collection at all. One person, she has campers that come there to what are called the old lands. And in the old lands, things like hospitality still count. And creatures that are fey and perhaps infernal have their own sets of rules, and they are not very kind to humans who are ignorant of them. So it has a definite feeling of that old world kind of folk tales and folklore. Anyway, I thought that you might like it, and I would recommend it to anybody. Now, here's the one problem. When you go to find a company that binds your book,
yes,
I would not go with a company that did this, because this is set under other books, heavy-weighted books, and except when I'm reading it, and then I put it back under heavy-weighted books. And as you can see, we have real cover issues here.
Wow.
This cover has not been wet. It has not been bedraggled. It arrived completely flat. And in about a week and a half, we now have curly pages, or curly covers anyway. So
Too much ink on thin paper.
yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't seem that thin, but you may be right. I have never seen anything that was treated well just do that.
Yeah, it looks odd.
And we haven't had that much rain or humidity.
No.
In your area as of
No.
late, right?
No, no, I don't see
agree with
anything
the
like
other
that.
guys. I think it may be too much ink, perhaps.
Maybe.
So
Maybe.
saturation, I think they call it.
Yeah. But be that as it may, it still reads well, and it's great collection. So books that I got this week that I liked or was excited about. Oh yeah, this is going to end up being a review at some point. Chicken Devil from Aftershock Comics. I've been looking forward to this, and I was not disappointed.
That's awesome.
Grab your copy now.
Grab your copy now. Nice House on the Lake has one of those. Oh, we're building some more characters, and last page. Oh, okay. Real development. Seven Swords. This is going to be the conclusion comes next issue, and it just continues to build characters right along and do quite well. I was very happy with it. Now, I didn't read this one yet because I understood that Brian had not, and I didn't want to read it and spill something I shouldn't. So I'm waiting until next week to say anything about it and to read it because Brian didn't get a chance to read it. So,
well, thank you.
Yeah. I started this. I will have to try again to finish this. It may end up being, it's kind of in a holding pattern above the airport right now.
Soul Plumber?
Soul Plumber. It's a DC horror comic.
Sounds like a DC book.
Yeah. It had a great pitch, but it may get a great pitch before I'm done with it. I don't know. My first attempt at reading it was not very successful. Here's one I have not delved into yet, but again, had an interesting pitch. This is from Ablaze. I've not gotten anything from them before, but the man or he who fights with monsters. Just the title and the whole synopsis as it was published sounded interesting. Now for the classic horror and Halloween stuff.
Nice.
Got this. I got this.
Yeah.
Have not read it yet. These last ones I have not yet read. Also, because it's Halloween, I thought I would try the first Darkhold book here from Marvel.
Okay.
This one was one. It just looks interesting to me. Not as a horror book or anything. It's just a righteous thirst for vengeance.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Like that type.
Ooh.
yeah, very noirish.
Oh, I've seen that cover advertised lately.
Mhm.
That looks cool.
And I've been enjoying the Defenders run. I just have to got to get caught up on it. I haven't got a chance to read it. But we have talked about horror comics and being the spooky season, having, as you saw, there were several horror comics in my pile. What did I get this week? Or, to have as review material for horror comics? Nothing. So I had to go back and look and see what other things I had gotten that made a mark. And this is one I wanted to review, but everything kept getting pushed because it came out in the last part of September. But my review is going to be for a new Image comic called Frontiersman.
Oh,
It's a superhero, kind of an analog. I thought of Jeff Lemire and his analog type characters when I read it, but it kind of strays from that in a good way. So, one of those comics that you read and you think about, it continues to percolate in the back of your mind. I like though, it has a lot of good things about it. I didn't recognize the writer until I got to thinking and looking back at his work. I'm like, oh, that's why I've read his stuff before when he was starting out. He's definitely grown as a writer, but I enjoyed his early stuff too. So let's get to the specifics here. We're going to be reviewing Frontiersman #1 from Image Comics, $3.99, written by Patrick Kinlan. The art and colors is by Marco Ferrari. Letters by Jim Campbell. It is a maturity level rated M for mature. Now, taking a look here at a few of the images. It has this one. It has variant covers, but this is a wraparound, and I really, really liked it.
oh, cool.
It looks like #2 is going to also have a wraparound cover variant. So that was nice. We get a look at the hero here. He is in an archetype. He is the archaic weapons superhero, like Green Arrow or Hawkeye. They have an older style weapon that they use. In his case, it's a whole earlier and archaic retinue of weapons and skills, like a frontiersman, like a mountain man. I thought that was interesting. I had never seen anything done quite like that before. So even though they are analogs with a difference, and I could appreciate that. As far as art, we have, you could call this kind of an old man Oliver Queen story, because this guy's definitely an older fellow, but he is still out there smashing robots and taking names. So we have a little bit of action sequence there.
I really like that art.
I do too. I thought it fit very nice. And here we have some flashbacks to look at the way the frontiersman looked in his earlier days, and I just thought that they nailed the look of an archaic hero based on an earlier Americana period.
Yeah,
It's handsome. Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Let's see here. Oh yeah. Okay. Then we get into the action sequences. They really bound off the page. I felt that they were quite exciting, quite well rendered.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Mm-hmm. He does a lot of neutral and naturalistic colors. The artist was also the colorist on this. And yeah, I'm looking at the settings and I go, that makes perfect sense. We're not in a cityscape with neon. This is grounded, neutral, earthy tones, and it works. And then we have, to help us get caught up on some of the characters, we have a who's who kind of page with Professor Unicell here.
Oh, that's
who is another analog, and it's got all of his powers listed and everything. He's an analog kind of for the Atom, but yet, again, the explanation of his powers are quite different than what we come to know as the Atom or Ant-Man. And it's a 2-page entry. Shows him in his prime and what he looks like when he uses his powers. And so I thought the look of it was quite good. The writing was quite good. So overall, as a launch issue, I scored it pretty high. But Image solicits Gage, the namesake hero of Frontiersman, by invoking the characters of Green Arrow and Concrete. And the company forecast its strongest appeal with readers that would be mature yet unjaded. And after reading their premiere issue several times, there is some truth in each of these elements. There's also a deeper appeal, and that transcends all of what they said, I think. So not only is it a success in what it claimed to be, I think it really went above that. It did even better than that. So, Patrick Kinlan is the writer, and he constructs a very appealing, a nuanced narrative ringing with truth. In pitch, it's a glass harp of resonance, unique for a superhero comic book. I first encountered Kinlan, and he's a vocalist for the American rock band Self-Defense Family and the post-hardcore group Drug Church. If you like, there's a guy that is a vocalist for rock by the same name. That's the same guy. But he wrote Black Mask Studios' 2017 release, There's Nothing There. Now, that was a horror. You know that one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
I dig Black Mask stuff, man. That's awesome.
Yes. And that was a great introduction to his work. It's a horror comic exploring the seamy and the shadowy underbelly of celebrity, the celebrity siren songs, the cults built around it, and the snares that it sets for those seeking its favor. The narrative and characterizations pulled no punches in that title, even though he was a young writer, and I think he's matured quite well. I think this is a superior, although a different theme, kind of writing. It's a superior effort even to that. But that first go around with him that I read, it was ambitious. It was ambitious writing. The protagonists were flawed, but ultimately heroic. Kinlan's skills have grown, and in Frontiersman, we've got an adventure yarn with a similar sensibility. The Frontiersman's a former superhero whose time has gone. He spends his days in 2019 surrounded by the beauty of nature, avoiding polluted air, the endless noise, and human clutter. And his 2019 seems very similar to ours, except there'd be superheroes there. The occasional rampaging robot left over from an old deceased tech-centric villain aside, our retiree lives in the great outdoors, donates to causes that he championed back when, and visits a friend named Claire who runs a co-op style grocery store to serve others in the rusticated settlement that edges the forest canopy. He could be called an Old Man Oliver Queen analog, a hero who once used archaic weapons and skills in battling villains and defending the earth. But when he's approached by a kid, not necessarily a real child, but a person that's way too young to remember his exploits, except for retrospective internet feeds and some newspaper clippings, our hero is called upon once more. Their environmental group opposes the harvesting of redwoods in a location previously protected from the lumber industry. They plan on suspending themselves from the said trees hundreds of feet above the woodland floor as an active protest. They need a symbol, someone sympathetic to their cause and who people will recognize, maybe even listen to. They need a superhero, which sounds like an adventure with a cause story in line with past works like Hard Traveling Heroes. That's a fair comparison, but in The Frontiersman, we have a protagonist who's not just a left-leaning Green Arrow or a cosmic cop Green Lantern. Kinlan's created his hero as a human, common-sense mixture of both, and one that's not too thrilled with the radicalized positions of left or right causes taken in the modern day. He's almost a Teddy Roosevelt conundrum. He's judgmental about human beings and their foibles. He's got some questionable outlooks. He is certainly a believer in law, but he's also an environmentalist, and he's a progressive, and a hero who's felt passionately enough about all of that to put on a mask and fight the evils threatening all those things that he cares about. The writing is also even-handed when it comes to those issues. Yes, there are corporate money men ready to fell ancient trees for a profit. There's also a former superhero colleague who's working as a college professor, making the world better with a more reserved path than he did in his youth. And Claire, the friend in charge of the commune-like market. She is not a woolly-headed dreamer. She's a common-sense, personified person, and she holds up her experience for the hero's consideration. She has some older hippies who keep her in business. Mostly the young people, though, touting causes of clean water and conservation, quickly grow tired of the effort, and they get comfortable usually making money off of the things that they once opposed. Her advice, they want to exploit you. Then they're going to leave you holding the bag. Don't do it. They just still think you're a superhero. By which she means they think that you're easily taken advantage of. Claire's only mistake is underestimating the pride that she wounds in voicing that last part, which showcases Kinlan's strength as a writer. His dialogue is crisp, and it's fresh, and it's meaty. The humor is wry and realistic, and his characters talk like real people in their circumstances. Hero or businessman, a friend or a foe, dialogue doesn't only serve the plot and move things along. It feels real. It's as real as chatting with your neighbor, and it outlines the characters in a way that they become people you would like to meet, or you want to avoid if they're the bad guys. But his second strength in this issue is creating analogs who are also crisp and different than their sources. Frontiersman, he may be like Green Arrow, but his approach, the expansion of the Mountain Man's skills and weapons, it's a fresh and energetic take on the archaically weaponized masked adventurer. His former teammate, Professor Unicell, is an Atom variant, but his powers are outlined in a handy-dandy Who's Who style section I showed you, and they're markedly different. Marco Ferreri's art style fits this title like a Rendezvous Forager's cap. He makes the Frontiersman uniform interesting, logical, and his weapons formidable. I used to do Rev War reenacting. I would never have thought of designing a superhero that looked or that echoed that Americana, but he's done an admirable job, I think, of making it look good. The human expressions that he conveys with those as much as the words do in many of the panels. And Ferrari's action sequences, they just launch off the page. He's also done the coloring, and again, fittingly enough, that's a palette of naturalistic earthy hues. The opening tale, again, it's not set in a city. It's parts of it are on a football field. It's in a forest. It's in a late night grocery. And the colors are reined in to serve those settings. With dialogue this good, a letter not in tune with how best to present it would lessen the overall impact, but Jim Campbell knows how to deliver that kind of dialogue spot on. And he also has an interesting approach. He didn't have a lot of sound effects, but the ones he used, they seem to mirror a lot of the art forms and outlines that are in the same panel. It's a subtle kind of nuance, and I'm not sure it's intentional, but I noticed it a couple of times, and it works really nicely, whether it's intentional or not. So, Frontiersman #1, it pulls no punches. It plays few favorites. If the Emperor has no clothes, his chief opponents are pretty nearly unknickered as well. The lines drawn in #1 show humans serving causes which are fleeting, corporate greed, which is enduring, and looking out for their friends, which is endearing. In the middle are heroes intervening, and some of them, older and wiser, should know better than painting targets on their backs or on their buckskins. But the Frontiersman may be, once again, the kind of hero left to pay the price for everyone else's posturing. And in that moment, readers may also get a satisfying twinge, like they're off once more, following old Obi-Wan on a damn fool idealistic crusade. So my score for Frontiersman #1 is 7.5 out of 10.
Pretty good. Pretty
Nice.
good. Nice. Sounds good.
Yeah, Kinlan he's got a real style, and I'm not kidding. I can't think of too many people that write dialogue. I know people that write satisfying dialogue and dialogue that moves a story along beautifully.
Right.
But this is like you have had a conversation, you've chatted up all these people, and some of them you'd like to ask more questions of. You know, that's pretty rare. So
Yeah.
That is. Very cool. Very cool. Thank you, Clyde.
mhm.
And let's see, we've got a few more comments here. Sarah's, I'm not sure I should read. Especially when we're starting with that. Let's see. And, of course, I'm not going to read that. Of course, I'm not going to read that. And I tried to get the books of the Dresden Files, but there were too many.
Audiobook. The on Audible, James Marsters. Honestly, I love books. I love reading. You know this. James Marsters' audiobooks of the Dresden Files is the superior way to experience the stories, in my opinion.
Yes.
So I would absolutely, get the first one. They build on each other, but I was instantly hooked because of that man. He does such a good job reading that story.
He's super.
Also, now there's I don't know, this might be a jumping on point to feel like if you would like it or not. They published, and it's written by Jim Butcher, but Welcome to the Jungle. It was a
comic book series.
comic book series, and you can get it in trade paperback. And I think that is early enough in the Dresden Files setting that you get a feel for what he's all about. That might be worth looking into as a short-term sort of thing.
Yeah, I think that story, correct me if I'm wrong, Clyde, didn't that one take place in between the first two books?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Well, also most of the graphic novels are written in such a way that you don't really need the previous ones in order to enjoy the story. It's kind of like old pulp characters.
Now, some of the later series that the same company came out with in trade paperback, not as good, but not written by Butcher either. Welcome to the Jungle is written by Jim Butcher, who is the writer of the whole series. So I would try that if you wanted to try a graphic approach.
Yeah, really, in the series itself, too, the novel series, the first 6 books, you really don't need to read the one before it. It's helpful, obviously, but especially the first 3 books. You don't have to start with book 1. He pretty much, I know in the second or third book, he pretty much summarizes what had happened before it in a paragraph.
And a good writer will do that too. So, and Sarah did have a few of the books, and now we're talking about things that are by. Oh, yeah, well, you probably do. Anyway, and Sarah liked some of the titles you were showing off there, Clyde.
Oh, okay.
You had some good titles in there. I like the one that was like the man who fought monsters or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, this is the one that's kind of that's the noirish kind of looks like a crime drama.
Yes, that's a great title. I like that.
And that's called A Righteous Thirst for Vengeance. That's from Image Comics. Marvel has the Darkhold, which is sort of their Necronomicon, their book of forbidden magic. And this is I don't know. This is the first one of kind of I don't know if it's an event, but they're doing a focus on the Darkhold for Halloween here. So
it's Marvel. Of course, it's an event.
Archie, this is a very classic Halloween nostalgia trip. The He Who Fights with Monsters. That's Blaze. Yeah. I don't know. I love the title and I love the synopsis that they gave. It may not be any good. I haven't read it yet, and I'm not familiar with the Blaze stuff. So, just to keep that in mind, I have not yet read it. So, but it does look good. And this one I cannot recommend just on my first attempt at reading it. It's pretty harsh. Now, it just might not be my cuppa. If you like really harsh horror that, you're like, oh, I wonder if they'll go there. Oh, they did by page 2. They went there. Yeah. Okay. It may be your cuppa, but it's pretty raw. And this, I have really enjoyed the first 2 issues. Looking forward to number 3.
It's really good
series. Yeah. It is The Me You Love in the Dark, and that is issue number 3 just came out. That's from Image also. So several good Image titles, and then Aftershock threw in a couple of things too. This is not a horror book. This is sort of like, what if the Punisher was sort of funny? That's the way it seems to me on first read. I've just read it once. I need to go back and read it again, but I imagine it'll be a review. It may wait until after the Halloween season a little bit, maybe another issue to see how it plays out. But Chicken Devil is definitely worth picking up for my first read through. So there you go.
All right. Thank you, Clyde. Thank you very much. And of course, this show is. And Ace Bonnie says that Frontiersman looks like Carl. Fortunately, Carl thinks that's funny. And Ace Bonnie says, I have a question for the 4 Golden Girls. Well, I'm sorry, they're not here. We're the Fab 4, so there. Like when the comic has do we like when the comic has a lot of text with great art, or has great art with less text and the art tells the story? I know my preference.
I hate seeing a page that's just full of words.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if the art's good or bad. I just come across, I'm like, oh man. And then when you read it all, it just sometimes there's too much. So
honestly,
I prefer fewer words.
I love. It depends on the story for me. I'm actually going to go in the other room and grab the perfect example of the best of both worlds, and I actually did review it here a couple of months ago. So bear with me. Hold on. Talk amongst yourselves.
All right, we'll stall.
I tend to like a blend. I don't like books that are just posters, just great big panels and huge. It can be very impressive art, but if it doesn't tell a good story, and the story doesn't have to have a lot of words, it can be a good blend of that art and words. I don't like it to be just where you're sitting there going, it took me a half hour to read this page because it's got so much text. That gets old real fast. And I know some writers who do that, and they crowd out the art, and I hate that. But there's got to be a happy medium in between those two extremes. So
as I said that, here's some excerpts from issue 2 of the Zombie World of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this page is obviously littered with lettering.
Mm-hmm.
as this one.
Wow.
Your editor should stop that. I'm telling you. He did
sometimes I get it. There's a lot you want to say, and sometimes you just shouldn't.
I figured you were just trying to keep from drawing backgrounds.
No, there's backgrounds every single one of those pages.
Okay. And I'm kind of with Clyde. I don't mind if there's a good balance between the two. But as I said earlier, I think the storytelling weight, at least 50% of it should be visual. And if you look at somebody like Jack Kirby, I keep invoking that name because he was a genius, Gil Kane or Carmine Infantino, a lot of these guys, a lot of the better artists, even Jim Lee, you should be able to follow the story just from looking at the pictures, whereas the words will give nuance. And I don't mind some of the wordier ones. And Don McGregor of Killraven comes to mind, and Chris Claremont is the other. My only problem with a lot of Chris Claremont's X-Men after a while is all of the dialogue, all of the characters have this perfect awareness of themselves. It's like psychologically, okay, I know that I'm miserable because this happened when I was 7.5. Then once I got my oatmeal that night, I became a little more of this. It's like they know themselves in a way that if everyone was like that, the field of psychiatry would no longer exist because there'd be no need for them.
Right.
But don't you also say every comic is someone's first issue?
Yes, I do.
So that's a good thing. He puts that stuff in there.
Well, it is, but it's the thing is, and Chris, a lot of the X-Men don't fall into that category. That they don't tell you who these characters are aside from, hey, Cyclops is the leader of the X-Men. There's Jean Grey. She's sleeping with him. That's, you don't get much more beyond that. Whereas, some writers are able to handle that far better. Even Alan Moore doesn't do that in a lot of his works, too.
It had to be early 2000s, I think, when they were putting a synopsis of the characters and the inside cover of the Marvel books there for a little while. But it was after Claremont left. I forget which writer was doing the X-Men that really drove me away from the X-Men. It just made it uninteresting because it was just so much dialogue, so much, and it was just like he was wanting to just show everybody how good his vocabulary was instead of focusing on the story. So
yeah, and that's my problem with Brian Michael Bendis a lot of
I thought you were going to say Brian Rodman. I was like, whoa, dude.
Brian Rodman and Hawkins, except for those 3 pages, they're fine examples of the medium working properly. Brian, do you have that comic book?
I do. If you remember, I once upon a time reviewed Dark One.
Oh, right.
By Brandon Sanderson. And I actually brought attention to this page for this very reason. This is a perfect balance between lots of words and great art, I think.
Yeah.
Because what each side of the just one panel, what each side of the 2-page spread is doing is telling the story of the specific character that is drawn on the page, and it's essentially a legend of these 2 cities and how they've been warring, and most of it has to do with these 2 figures. But I mean, I remember, when I come across pages like that, the wordiness and the art, if it's both grandiose and big, it makes me excited. So I actually, like I said, it depends on the story, depends on what you're doing. I have seen them before where it's literally like two little baby figures at the bottom of the page, maybe even silhouette, and the rest of it's just dialogue. And I'm like, man, like just write a novel at that point, you know?
You look at the page I'm drawing right now.
A lot of backgrounds, huh? So, Ace, I hope that answered your question, and we would like to hear what all the rest of you have to say. Sarah says, the new Zorro fights the supernatural, including Cthulhu. I almost went cross-eyed when I read that. Interesting, but wasn't expecting that. Well, anymore you can expect supernatural elements in a lot of your books. And Carl Witzman's abandoning us for Joe Dog McKeel and Stupid O'Clock. We understand. Clyde,
I'm sure you've already left, but I'm waving anyway.
Yeah, I'm waving at your backside, Carl. So anyway, enjoy Stupid O'Clock, and if you leave us for that, we understand. And Sarah's addiction to comics has gone a step further. I've offered to volunteer at my comic shop in exchange for comics.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, they usually love that.
Yeah.
Hey, that's how I started out, actually. I was telling Sarah, in fact, we talk almost every day, that when I was about 15 or so, there was this one store we went into in Danville, Illinois, as a used bookstore. And the proprietor was complaining to somebody, said, I wish I knew more about comics. My mom walked while I was looking at the comics, said comics. She marched up to the owner and said, my son is an expert in comics. You need him to rearrange your comics so that you know what's good and what is valuable and what isn't. And so that was my first job, and I actually got no pay for it, but I did get first chance at all the comics I found that were of value. So anyway, I kind of looted him. But this led to my working for his cousin in Champaign, Illinois, and then eventually my own comic book service, and then then a lot of false turns before I went into writing on my own. So it's been a good thing for me, but that's how I started. I remember I was still in high school in the early 70s. I was making $2 an hour when they finally decided to start paying me.
Buddy.
Oh man.
Hey, in 70s money for a high school kid? Holy cow. I felt
1986, I was making $3.35. So yeah, I could
1986, I was born.
Anyway,
I swear I thought he was going to take the nebulizer and go, oh, yeah?
So how much were you making in '86, Brian Rodman? That's how much were you bringing in?
yeah.
I don't know what I was bringing in.
Oh,
I was definitely taking a lot from people. I know
yeah,
that.
see,
Yeah.
that's your generation. You're just slackers. I tell you what.
Those damn newborns. Gosh.
Take.
All they do just
All they do is take.
They crap their
And
diapers.
wine. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, welcome to the opinions of three elderly white guys.
all I heard was blah blah blah. F them kids. All right.
That's
Get
pretty
off
much
my
how it
lawn.
was. Yeah, but no, $2 an hour, man. I thought I was King Midas, man. I was going to town. Of course, I spent it all back at the shop on comics. Anyway, not offended by passing up on some of my comments. Probably shouldn't have written them. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. They were funny. We are laughing. We just aren't reading them. And yes, you did answer my question. Thank you. Ace, I'd like to hear what you think about it. And then my comic shop was a customer of yours. That's right. Midgard Comics, the two gentlemen that own that shop in Charleston, Illinois, used to be my customers in Champaign.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And one of my customers was also Timothy Bradstreet. He did a lot of, he's done a lot of inking for Tim Truman. He drew all of the, basically when Garth Ennis started, they rebooted The Punisher back in the late 90s with Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon. My friend Tim basically drew every cover of The Punisher for about 4 or 5 years.
Oh wow!
And
Very
he did.
cool.
I think he did the one sheet for the Thomas Jane Punisher movie.
Oh wow!
Nice guy, one of the nicest
very
guys on this
cool.
planet. He really is. And Sarah, just don't lick spines of the comics while you were working at the store. Wait until you get home, advises from the desk of a small press publisher. BKM does it, only goes so far as an excuse. Well, that's it. Hey, that's the one thing we haven't done, Eric.
Oh,
Hold on.
no.
Hold on. Let me get-
Wop, wop, wow.
Yeah, you can lick it all you want.
Trying, baby. Oh,
Well, you can
goodness.
hear Marvin Gaye coming up there. Didn't you know? Man, I'm telling you, Barry White and Harmony there. So anyway, I've just given it the drool of approval.
That's how you get these books, you know.
Here, I'll send the last book you'll ever read over to you. You can lick that one.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Welcome to the show. And there's the airport. And Brian is younger than me. Which Brian? And I've gotten perks from dropping your name. I love it. Yeah, it's nice to know my name does some good somewhere. And I like the happy medium with text and art. There we go. And I agree. I think that's when it works the best. I think it's still online. I don't think they ever took it down, but Jim Shooter had a blog about 10 years ago. And he spent a lot of time talking about storytelling on it. I wish he was still doing it, but it was very informative. You know, really opened my eyes to a lot of, how the balance of comic words and visuals should work. And I tell people one of the books that helped me write comics the best was actually How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way.
Oh,
yeah.
Clyde.
Because it talked a lot about body language. Oh, there we go. Oh. Do it. Yeah.
Oh, you missed it? Oh, that's too bad.
One more. One more. Ooh, Seth the Moose. Ooh, yeah. Make sure Seth sees this. Screen capture. Oh, yeah.
I think Clyde got a paper cut.
Yeah.
Welcome to Comic Book Spectrum. You might well be able to be. I've already thought one.
Okay, now it's your turn.
Yeah,
no.
Lick my spine.
I licking nothing. That's comic. Especially after what happened to me at a comic show.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Anyway. Oh, and I still see dollar signs in the owner's eyes when I arrive to Sarah. Yeah.
I bet you do. My God.
Yeah. She basically has spent the gross national product of like a small European nation in that shop in the last month or so. And Ace Bonnie says, I think Sarah would like Coffin comic stuff. Well, this is, we need to talk that up sometime, maybe.
Oh, yeah. But that's only through crowdfunding, though, isn't it?
I think so. We
think,
have been known to talk about crowdfunded books every now and then.
The good ones. The good ones.
Yeah, so.
Well, it's Lady Death and stuff. It's not bad. I mean, it's Lady Death. It is what it is.
Well, and the thing is, I reviewed Impossible Jones. What was it, last week? And right now there's a Kickstarter from writer Carl Kessel for Impossible Jones and Captain Lightning team up. And they just broke, I think they've broken like about 3 or 4 of their stretch goals, including a 3-page story of one of their characters, Even Steven.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And he kind of reminds me of The Question, more like Mr. A by Steve Ditko. But his thing is, like, for instance, if he were to come up to, say, Eric S. Hawkins, and you go up to him and go, "Hey, Stevens, how you doing?" He would go, No. You must call me Even Steven, and I will call you Eric Hawkins. If I call you by your initial, that's too much. And if you call me by just one name, then that's too little. It has to be Even Steven.
So he's an anal retentive superhero? Is that
pretty much? Almost like his fandom. But anyway, but also the thing is, his thing is when he fights villainy, he only meets them with the exact same amount of force.
Interesting.
Does it change?
Yeah.
I got exact change.
Right. There you go. You've given me a penny too much, fling. And from this, a small press publisher mocks us with this laughter. See you all escape the watching eyes of Carl, who would have mad memes of these licks. Yeah. That's not to say he won't go back and make them. He knows how to screen capture as well as anyone. And Ace Bonnie says they do have an online shop. And,
okay, cool.
Oh, good.
Yeah, very good. Good to hear. It sounds great, but I can't buy online, which sucks. Sarah, we need to talk about that. There are ways to get around it. For instance, see if you're open a PayPal account, or see if your bank. Well, if your bank will give you a debit card, you can use that. Mm-hmm. So, and he says, Sarah, you may be able to get it at your local comic shop as well. Send Sarah or Ace. Send me. A link to and I'll see if she gets it. Send a link to Coffin Comics, okay? And if the website. So we'll make things happen here. So we have gone for almost 2.5 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it, does it?
No.
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 Yeah. Not on this side of this. Thing anyway.
Eric's like,
no,
I feel
like
I've drawn an entire page, so I don't know.
Wait a minute. What's the dialogue or just art? Which is it?
Dialogue's on the page as well, yeah.
Okay.
Very good. I didn't get a lick of work done. But anyway, you got that done.
I'm cheating. It's only 3 panels, and 2 of the panels are almost identical with some different stuff on one of them. So yeah, it not a very detailed page.
Yeah, don't.
But a very important page. Very important.
There we go. Don't say there's stuff on it after our discussion of plurals.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. I got a page plotted.
Oh, good.
Started, so there we go.
There you go. Yeah. See, this show gets things done. By God.
Ooh, I would like to show you my. I'd like to show everyone my layout so far. I'm pretty proud of the layout of this page.
Give you the full screen here. Yeah. Thank God he finished that sentence.
Exactly. Yeah, I was wondering where we were going. We're heading to the port after the airport.
Oh, that's the layout right now.
Yeah.
You get fancy with your panels. I can't do that.
Well, all I do is I just use the little square tool, and just do it till it works.
I'm afraid to stray too much from just the standard page. Sometimes I won't have a border around one panel or something. The background will cover the rest of the page. But yeah. And when mixing panels up, I'm afraid it's just going to look crappy when I do it.
Well, see, I just do it, and if it looks like crap, we move on.
Cut and print, right?
Yep, exactly.
There we go. And Sarah says, no, I don't have any protection on my devices. I'm leaving that line alone. And so I keep my financial information off of them. I do the same thing. I don't do my banking on my phone. So, but there are ways. And BKM, I think it may have been blocked. Actually write it out, but instead of the dot, use the word dot. Okay. Since you're on YouTube, and it's something that YouTube does occasionally. So don't panic.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice. Look at the beanie.
Nice.
Say hi.
Put it on.
Oh, here. Say
hi.
Hi. Nice beanie. That looks awesome.
That's a great.
Would you like to read this book? Here.
She's like, stop talking to me, please.
Yeah. What's this book with? Why?
And she's gone.
Yeah.
Danny,
what's this
book with all the penises?
Take the dog too.
Ixnay on the Enos pays, okay?
Yeah, really. Yeah. Oh my God, we could have been here when Eric had that talk with her.
Oh, I would rather not.
Yeah, I could use it sometimes myself. Anyway,
I'm a great and I don't have to have that talk.
There you go. Exactly.
Somebody else's problem, right?
Yeah.
That's the way it should be. Anyway, I think that's it for the show tonight. I want to thank first of all my friends for being here, both on the set here, and yes, we all live in the same house together. We're family and I, and we're the Brady Bunch. And also, I want to thank everyone who tuned in and made comments. If you're watching this on the rerun, feel free to leave us a comment down below, and we will try to reply to you. Okay, and so let's go around the room and say goodnight. And there we go. Here we go. CoffinComicShop.com.
Oh, cool.
All right. Thank you, Ace. See, that was great. That was great. They can't get you there. And Sarah goes, I order books the owner of Midgard has never heard of. See, that's the problem.
Well done.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're expanding
We'll
their
tell him to
horizon.
watch the show and he'll hear of them.
Yeah. Tell them
Yeah.
they need to sponsor this show.
Yeah. We'll
Yeah.
teach them some stuff.
Yeah. That was my job when they were my customers anyway.
There you go.
Oh, did you hear that Penguin Random House shipment of Marvel books to their largest customer got lost?
Oh,
No.
no.
Which is their largest customer is the distributor of the DC books.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
Oh my God, there's just all kinds of lessons to be learned from that, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That is funny. And Ace Bonnie says, great show, ladies. Well, thank you, ma'am. We appreciate your patronage. And and anyway, thank you all for being here. And now we're going to go around the room and let everyone tell you where they can be found. And let's start with Mr. Brian Rodman, who I believe has a Kickstarter going on right now.
Ooh.
Brian, can you confirm or deny this?
I can confirm heavily that Memoirs of an Angel issue 8 is currently on Kickstarter, and it will be running until Halloween night. We just started last Friday, and we are already funded because you all are amazing. We love our backers so much. Right now, let's see. Let me get it pulled up. We are at
2567 with 77 backers.
Thank you, Brian. Our next stretch goal is $3,000, and it is for the Legion Demoniac bookmark. It looks super creepy. It's a lot of fun. The character is going to be in this issue of the book, and we're also trying to reach 100 backers. If we get 100 backers, everybody gets the cover art, 5x7 art card, or if you're a digital backer, you get the PDF of the art itself. By Braxton Gaither, who did our variant cover. It's fantastic. Yeah, guys, we're gonna try and keep this thing rolling, keep it moving. I'm really excited about this issue. I actually was plotting it and starting to draw the next page now of this issue, and we are at the beginning of the end of volume 2. So now is the perfect time to jump on board. We have 2 collectors tiers, or 2 catch-up tiers. One's digital, one's physical. We've got a lot of reward tiers that you can choose from, and yeah, jump on over to this link right here and check it out. I'm also 1/3 of the Dastardly Dingoes, now on the Rising Tide Network. We had our inaugural episode of season 4 was this past Tuesday night, and BKM was on. We talked about creativity and the importance of understanding your own worldview and other people's worldview while you're world building your stories. So it was a great episode. Brian, we loved having you on. And next week, we will actually have Eric S. Hawkins on to interview him a little bit. So exactly. So show up in the comments section and ask all the questions. We might actually choose some of your questions to ask him on top of the ones we already have. So thank you, Brian, for having me as usual. This has been a lot of fun. This is a highlight of my week every week. I love being here.
We love having you here too. And I couldn't stop watching Luna clean herself.
Yes, that's what she does.
Yeah. Next week you'll be doing it, I'm sure. Just to make sure everyone watches you. Anyway, thank you, Brian. Thank you so much. And everyone, please contribute to that great Kickstarter campaign. And speaking of great, there he is, the one, the only, the Eric S. Hawkins. Eric, how can people keep up with you, and what are you up to?
Well, everybody can always find me on almost every social media outlet there is, and I'm posting a link right now to my link tree, which, if you click on that, that lists all my social media outlets, which includes Twitter, Facebook, multiple Facebooks. It also includes the Teespring site to get shirts for Comic Book Spectrum. My Patreon is on there as well, which I don't use that much, but I did put out a drawing tutorial, and I'm going to put out the first 4 pages of the Zombieful World of Oz, issue 4, fully colored and lettered this weekend.
Excellent.
And that's it.
All right, super. Thank you so much, Eric.
And thank you.
As always, you're great. And Clyde Hall, tell the people what you're up to and where you can be found.
Well, you can find me here on Thursday nights as 1/4 of the Comic Book Spectrum team. But in the meantime, you can find some of my work in the stories of B-Man at Stormgate Press, Pulp Reality #1, award-winning anthology of new pulp. And thank you. And Pulp Reality #2, second B-Man story is in it. Now, I also a lot of times with Stormgate Press, I talk about the writers. I'm going to take a moment to talk about the artists that you will also encounter in these pages. They are not comic books, but they are illustrated. And Ted Davies was the artist for my story in Pulp Reality 1. Stephen Burks in Pulp Reality 2. Now, look at the cover. This is one of my favorite covers of any of the Stormgate publications. It is Damian Aviles, and he won an award for the cover, I think very rightly so. Clayton Merwin did this cover. Beautiful, beautiful pirate story character that is, there's a pirate story within the pages, a Penny Dreadful sort of story. You also have people like Candace Camilleri and Stephen Burks on that second issue of mine. He did a 2-page spread, which is unusual. It was so good that they let him do that for my B-Man story. So our work is there too. It's not just the writing; it's also some beautiful, beautiful rendering. So check us out at www.stormgatepress.com. You'll find the Pulp Reality series and many other publications from Stormgate Press. Also, you can find me on Facebook under Clyde Hall or under Radiating Positive Vibes with author Clyde Hall. Just send me a howdy, send me a friend's request. Chances are I will approve you and you can follow right along. I'm also on Twitter at CJHall1984. And that's how you can find and keep up with me.
All right. Thank you so much, Clyde. Appreciate your efforts here as always. You're the gold standard, I tell you. And as I mute everyone here, I will tell you I'm Brian K. Morris. I'm the chief set of hands at Rising Tide Publications, as well as the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. Please check out our Facebook page for 7 days a week worth of great entertainment. In fact, right now, you should be running over to Joe Dog McKeel's great geek conversation show, Stupid O'Clock. They also run another episode Saturday nights at 11 p.m. all times Eastern, because that's how I think. And then following the Stupid O'Clock tonight will be Dan Hollifield's Last Man Standing. I will be back tomorrow with another Nevermind the Furthermore on Friday morning. It's going to be fun. We expect your participation. But anyway, check out our Facebook page and please give it a like so you can follow our adventures. And also check out our Patreon pages. And many of the people that you see on this card, they paid to get there. How? They became one of my patrons. If you want to learn more about Patreon, go to www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris and find out how you can get your name there. And also, we've got a couple of people we want to thank for sponsoring tonight's episode. The first one is our usual sponsor, Jeffrey Hayes and Plasma Fire Graphics. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. part of what makes a great book is a great cover, and you can get the best from Jeffrey Hayes. You can also get the graphics that'll help you sell it on social media, as well as a beautiful book trailer like the one you just saw. And they've done my book trailers. I'm going to use them again. So please check out Plasma Fire Graphics on Facebook and also on plasmafiregraphics.com, where you can contact Jeffrey directly and get his rate card. It is very affordable. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you, because it's going to matter to your readers. And also, we are brought to you tonight by Memoirs of the Morbid. Check this great horror comic out currently on Kickstarter.
Greetings, ghouls and boils. I'm the Ghoul Master, a loving homage to horror anthology narrators of yesteryear. Wait, I'm an homage? Why didn't anybody tell me? You'll hear from my agent about this. But first, let's get to the heart of the matter. I'm here to tell you about the new horror anthology, Memoirs of the Morbid, on Kickstarter in time for Halloween. Memoirs of the Morbid is a black and white homage to classic horror comics from the 40s and 50s, containing 5 self-contained stories by some of the best indie comic creators out there. There's that word again. I better not find out homage is an insult. Anyways, Memoirs of the Morbid is completely done and ready to go to the printer. The comic will be on Kickstarter until Halloween, so don't make a grave mistake by missing it.
It's a sensational comic book, and I got to tell you, I've got one of the stories in there, along with Claudio, my good friend. Claudio Adriano. It's late. Anyway, please check out the book. It is funding right now on Kickstarter, and it deserves your love. So please go see it. And thank you, Grant Lankard, for putting that book together and that great trailer. And so also, if you want to follow my adventures, I'm on YouTube. I'm also on risingtide.pub. We currently have a YouTube challenge where if I can get 1,100 subscribers by the end of Halloween night, I will do a special 12-hour thank you show the following Friday. And with that, we're going to have some guests. We're going to have some giveaways. We're going to have all kinds of fun. So please like, share, and subscribe to the show, and let your friends know about it and join the fun here. And I think that's about it right now. So, folks, thank you for tuning in to Comic Book Spectrum. And we'll be here next Thursday with more reviews and more stuff. So please join us. Tell your friends. We appreciate having you. And as always, folks, stay smart. Stay safe, wash your hands, and never apologize for being awesome. Have a great one, everyone. We'll see you next week on Comic Book Spectrum.
Thank you for watching Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Please join us next week for another look at comics, past, present, and future. If you enjoyed this, please give the show a like and be sure to subscribe and share it with your friends. To receive our free monthly newsletter, go to www.risingtide.pub and be sure to give the Rising Tide Broadcast Network page on Facebook a like in order to receive news about upcoming shows, including Clever Title Pending, Stupid O'Clock, Clever as Hail, Comics Chaos and Sass, Tidbits and Scribbles, the Historical Fencing Guild, and never mind the Furthermore. See you next week.